Very good morning, sir. Very good morning.
Sir, let me introduce you to our speakers.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning. Please go ahead, Mr. Bude.
Yes, sir. Sir, Mr. Nazim Tisekar, he is attending the meet from Australia, sir.
Great,
Mr.
great,
Nazim,
great.
please introduce yourself to our principal, sir.
Please, Mr. Nazim.
Nazim, are you there?
Yeah, hello there. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah. Please, Mr. Nazim. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, sir. बहुत बहुत
Please,
शुक्रिया
it's my
आप
pleasure.
सबका.
Yeah, please, I can.
So खान सर, मैं शायद ऐसे आपको देख के पहचानता हूँ. आप मेरे ख्याल से इलेक्ट्रिकल के एचओडी थे.
जी जी जी.
और मेरा पास आउट ईयर 2007 था माइनिंग इंजीनियर में.
Okay, great. हाँ.
जी जी जी. तो अभी फिलहाल मैं यहाँ पे ऑस्ट्रेलिया में हूँ और मेरी जो जर्नी थी वो मतलब from India to UAE and then to Australia.
Great.
So
great.
throughout my presentation, I will explain like how it all began and
Great.
whatever
great.
happened. But yeah, basically, yeah, 2007 pass out of
Okay.
mining department. Yeah.
Great. Welcome, Mr. Nazim. It's pleasure
Thank
for
you,
me
thank
to
you, sir.
welcome you. Please, my pleasure.
अब सर नाजिम पुकारिए मुझे बस. कोई भी स्टाफ मेंबर
नाजिम
just call
बोल.
me Nazim. Yeah.
जरूर. Thank you so much, Nazim.
No,
जी.
thank you.
Sir, the second participant we have is Mr. Amit Narnaure. He is a
Okay.
2008 batch pass out.
Okay,
Amit,
okay.
are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please introduce
Yeah,
yourself.
welcome, Amit.
Yes.
Welcome, Amit.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning. कैसे हैं आप?
बस एकदम मस्त हूँ सर. आप कैसे हैं सर?
ग्रेट. बस आप लोगों के सभी की दुआओं से अच्छा हूँ. बढ़िया एकदम. एवरीथिंग इज गोइंग नाइस.
सर आपकी दुआ है तो हम लोग हैं सर.
जरूर. इट इज ऑलवेज माय ब्लेसिंग्स आर ऑलवेज विद माय स्टूडेंट्स.
या थैंक यू वेरी मच सर. मेरा नाम कर्नव है सर. मैं एक्चुअली नागपुर से बिलोंग करता हूँ. राइट नाउ आई एम इन नागपुर.
ओके.
मैं वर्किंग पर हूँ साउथ अफ्रीका में, कोलंबिया में.
अच्छा.
अभी तो जस्ट लीव पर हूँ. लास्ट 1 मंथ के लिए लीव पर हूँ मैं सर.
ओके.
बाकी सब तो मैं अपना इंट्रोडक्शन बाकी जो प्रेजेंटेशन में बोलता हूँ सर.
जी जरूर.
थैंक यू वेरी मच.
जी. और मिस्टर किशोर, आर वी गोइंग टू स्टार्ट वेरी शॉर्टली?
Very shortly, sir. Yes, we were waiting for you. In fact, just
या प्लीज.
yeah. So, should we start with your kind permission, sir?
एब्सोल्युटली. प्लीज.
Okay. So here we go. We start our webinar now. Before starting the webinar, let me make an announcement. Since Google allows only 100 participants, we are streaming this meet live on YouTube. The link has already been provided in your WhatsApp group, which has been created for participants. So participants who are not able to join on this Google Meet can just click on the YouTube link and they can they can go through the meet. Okay, the meet is being telecast live on YouTube. Yes. So
hello.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Kishore, did you tell me anything?
No, sir. Yes. So I'm just
No,
about
no.
to start the meet. Okay.
Yeah, please
Yes.
go ahead.
So, President of today's function, Dr. Z.J. Khan, Principal, Rajiv Gandhi College of Engineering, Research and Technology, Chandrapur, Professor B.K. Khade, Head Department of Mining Engineering, RCERT Chandrapur, Professor P.K. Singh, Professor R.P. Masade from Department of Mining Engineering, and my dear student friends. At the outset, I welcome you all for the webinar on overseas career opportunities for mining engineers. Today, in fact, is a proud day for all mining engineering teachers because we are going to learn from our students. They are not our students now, but there was a time when they were the student of RCERT, and it's our proud privilege to learn from our students. So dear friends, at the outset, I welcome you all on behalf of our college, that is Rajiv Gandhi College of Engineering, Research and Technology, on behalf of Department of Mining Engineering, and on my own behalf. Now, before we start the presentation, let me have the privilege of introducing you to our principal. I hope this biodata of principal sir is visible to everyone.
No, I can't see anything.
You can't see anything. Okay. Yes, I'll
Even
just.
me,
I think I will stop presenting myself. Then
You
I
please
think
stop
allow-
presenting yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, try now.
Yeah. Just hold on.
Mr. Kishore, please go ahead. We are more concerned about the biodata of the people who are going to speak today.
Yes. So I would like to read.
Mr. Kishore, I think we should bypass it. We are more concerned about the biodata of the people who are going to speak today.
Just a few lines, sir. I will just start with it. Okay.
Just
Yes.
Share yourself.
Yes. I'm sharing. Yeah.
That's
Yes. I
Okay,
hope
sir.
And
now.
others are requested to kindly fill his presentation.
Yes.
Yes, I
hope-
can see now.
You can see now, yes. So I'll just quickly introduce to all of us our principal, sir. So he has lots of professional membership. He is member IEEE. He is member Computer Society of India, member System Society of India, member Indian Society for Technical Education. He has been ex-Dean Faculty of Engineering of Technology for Nagpur University, ex-Dean Gondwana University, Gadchiroli, ex-Chairman Board of Studies of Electrical Engineering, Nagpur University, and ex-Professor and Head Electrical Engineering Department at RCERT, currently Principal of RCERT. He has been shortlisted for more than 5 times for the post of Vice Chancellor. Yes. So, respected sir, I request you to please guide us. Over to you, Khan sir.
Mr. Mude,
Yes, sir.
and kind of giving an opportunity to speak. Well, at the outset, it's my privilege. It's a rare privilege to welcome Azim and Mr. Amit this webinar, because as rightly pointed out that they have been the student of this RCERT. I'm happy that RCERT is proud of its many of students, out of which perhaps Mr. Azim and Mr. Amit are two who are going to interact with our students today. Particularly, you all are well aware of the fact that the mining engineering department of this Rajiv Gandhi Engineering College has been always an USP for this institution, which has given, a very big name to this college, not across just the country, but across the world. Because we find that the mining engineers who have passed out from this institution today are giving their services to some of the best organizations across the world. And indeed, Mr. Nazim and Mr. Amit are two from them only. And therefore, we have been, and we are always, in fact, proud of this particular department, which has given a big recognition to this RCERT in the educational field. It is true that perhaps because of the ongoing policies of the government and some other, the turbulences which are going on, the employment opportunities for mining engineering, particularly in the areas of the domain that is mining engineering, are a little bit reduced. And that indeed has given a sort of a little bit concern to the people who are joining this branch in this college. And therefore, at the outset, I would like to really compliment the head of the department, Professor Khade, Professor P.K. Singh, and the entire department of mining engineering for really working on the issue which is so concern to our students, because it is but natural that if anybody is pursuing a 4-year engineering course, then he is definitely concerned about his employment, his future, his jobs, and all that. And therefore, I believe that you have invited really very good people today to speak on these two topics. The people, the students must understand that the opportunities for engineers are not just limited to the area of, the Vidarbha or Maharashtra or even India. Now people say that, we also say that the entire world has become a small village by virtue of the communication technology which has come up during last 1 decade. And therefore, we say it, but the problem is that we don't, implement it when it comes to our lives. And therefore, it is the high time when our students who are going to pass out from this institution this year, they must listen to Mr. Nazim and Mr. Amit very carefully, so that they really come across n number of opportunities which are awaiting them, and not just in the country but across the world. And why not? Why not? The thing is that if you are an engineer who has got a valid and very good degree from a very good institution, being taught by some of the finest mining engineering teachers, why you should not get an opportunity to work with some of the finest institutions across the world? And therefore, I once again congratulate the department, and I express my deep sense of gratitude towards Mr. Nazim and Mr. Amit for being the part of this wonderful morning. I hope that their information which they are going to share with our students are extremely going to be useful for our students, and they are going to provide n number of many opportunities to my students, for which we all are concerned about. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, respected sir. It's indeed a pleasure to have Nazim Tissekar and Amit Narnawre with us. And now I would like to introduce before all of us a brief introduction of Mr. Nazim Tissekar, who is our keynote speaker for today's function. So, he is a mining engineer and offers 7 years of experience and sound knowledge of open cut operations. So, his key skills are daily production, drill and blast engineering. In fact, his designation is he is a drill and blast engineer, and currently he is working with Fortescue Metal Group. Mr. Nazim, hope I pronounce it correctly.
Yeah, that's one. It's actually Fortescue Metals Group.
Okay, we call it as Fortescue. Yeah, I wanted to
Fortescue.
Correct that. Yes, so I am sorry. Fortescue Metal Group. So previously he was a bomb crew at Christmas Creek Mine, and let me tell you, since his student life, he has not been very good as far as his academics was concerned, but he was an outstanding person as far as his extracurricular was concerned. And this extracurricular approach has really helped him in getting selected, and you will hear about this in his presentation when he presents his presentation. So now I request Mr. Nazim Tissekar to take on this particular webinar from here. Mr. Nazim Tissekar, please.
No worries. Thank you. I will just turn on my page, and then once everyone can have a look, then we'll start.
Yes, yes. Let me stop presenting first, okay, so that you are in a position to present.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So in the meantime, he makes his presentation. Let me also share with all of us, particularly Principal Sir and all the teaching staff, Mr. Nazim Tissekar has prepared one survey, and that survey was circulated amongst all the students, or to be frank, all the participants. So many of the participants have taken part in that survey, and he will be also sharing the results of his survey during his presentation. Yes. So Mr. Nazim, are you ready with your presentation?
Yes, I am. I'm just trying to, put on my, what do you call, the presentation, but some reason it's not showing up on my screen. I will just restart. Give me one sec.
Yeah, please, please.
Okay. All right, here it is. Yeah, so can you see my screen now?
Yes, your screen is visible now. Yes.
Okay, no worries. So first of all, before I begin, I would like to thank the principal and Mulisa especially, and everyone who was involved in making this possible, and also to all the participants who so enthusiastically joined to this webinar. So thank you very much, and I won't take long and try to get this as quickly, but then we'll give more opportunity to the participants to ask questions and take a lead from there. Okay. All right, so welcome to the webinar once again. And so this webinar is going to be on the overseas job opportunities for mining engineers. So before we begin, so always look for a career, not just a job, okay? So we all have a job at the end of the day, but you can't make a career without a job, and it's vice versa as well. So let me explain you before we start how the program is gonna go ahead with, so everyone is well aware of what they can expect throughout the program. So number one, I will introduce myself, then I will speak a bit about my career portfolio, then I will tell you what my current role is, and then speaking about overseas mining industry, how things happen. We'll have a short, quick question and answer session in between as well. And then we'll talk about how to find a job, how to get into the industry, and how to apply for overseas job. And towards the end, we will also discuss a bit about our survey results. And then I will hand over to Amit's introduction, and then he will carry forward his guidance throughout the program. So any questions? All right, no worries, not a problem. So introduction, so I'm Nazim, so passed out in 2007, and I currently work for Fortescue Metals Group. So Fortescue Metals Group is an Australian iron ore company, and it is the 4th largest iron ore producer in the world after BHP, Rio Tinto, and Vale. So you must have heard about some of these companies. And these are some of the most prolific international mining companies. So giving a quick short description about what I love about this company is the culture is very good. There's no minimum red tape. So, you can actually approach a CEO and they will just sit at a normal desk. They don't have their own cabins or anything like that. So you can just walk through and just have a quick chat with them. So it's a very nice, very good working environment there. And there is a lot of career opportunity as well. So in case of any of the students, eventually, if they try to migrate to Australia, always look for this company. And I'm pretty sure that you will be very happy to work for one. So what we do, so we produce iron ore, and that's our main commodity. But apart from that, we have also started to explore in some other countries and started looking into gold and copper, and also invest in some of the, carbon neutral energy resources to make sure that in the future we are like a zero carbon footprint. So the technology that we use in our mine is automated trucks. So none of our trucks have truck drivers in them. So all the trucks run, and they are being operated 1,300 kilometers away from the mine site, which is here in Perth. So Perth and the mine that I work for, it's like 1,300 to 1,400 kilometers away. And the main office is in the Perth, and the mine is like in the Pilbara region. And the rigs are also running automatically. So they are all being operated from the Perth office itself. And crushing operations are also done remotely. So in case if there is something stuck into the crusher, they have this nice device control unit, and they just make sure that nothing gets stuck and everything is working as it is meant to work. And also the labs that they have for quality assurance and quality analysis. So all the labs are automated. All the robots do the function. They collect the sample from the belts, and they make their own samples, and they give the results straight away to whoever is concerned. So our future, as I said, like we are trying to be a zero carbon footprint by 2030, which is just 9 years away from now, and use of hydrogen as fuel for trucks. So we'll be completely eliminating use of diesel and other kind of fuel that basically, do harm to the environment. And as I said, other resources is basically other than iron ore, we are exploring different minerals, which is gold and copper and all other stuff. So my career portfolio. Starts with, so after I finished my graduation, I got a campus placement and I started working with Lafarge India Private Limited, and I started there as a graduate mining engineer. It was limestone quarry, and I worked for them for like almost a year and a half. Then after that, so when I was there, I started applying for, looking for overseas opportunities, and I just kept on, hitting my CVs to all different career agencies. And I think one of the agencies just picked up my CV and they forwarded it to one of those companies, and I just got a call and got interviewed. And after like a couple of months, I just got selected and just flew to UAE straight away, and then worked there for like nearly 6.5 years. And meanwhile, when I was in UAE, I also started looking to, how further, like jump ahead and do some, because Australia is very well known for mining, and especially Western Australia, the state in which I live, it's very much popular for mining industry, basically. So I always wanted to, come to Australia and see the real side of mining and how things are done. And that's why I thought, why not give it a try? And I applied for Australia, and then I came here. But unfortunately, when I came to Australia, it was a downturn. There was a heavy recession. There were no jobs available. But I took a risk. I just resigned from my company because eventually I had to come to Australia, and I need to make sure that I have enough time, to explore the market and see what's going on, so that I can start my career and get into mining. But meanwhile, I basically struggled a lot, and then I tried to work in different companies, which also gave me a good side of experience. So I worked for the airline company. So you might be knowing Virgin Airlines. So I worked there for 6 months. I did some baggage handling, did some customer service there. After that, I just applied because at the end of the day, this was not a career for me, as I said, it was just a job for me because, of course, I had a family. I had to keep them moving. So I just found a job and then found another job, which was for the ironing, which is an internet company. So so I started applying for other different companies, which is not my basically. I mean, meanwhile, I was also applying for mining jobs as well. But since I had no luck, I just kept on applying for other companies which would be paying me higher than what I was already getting, And then I got into Ironet. I worked there for a year and a half, and then I got into a car rental company, which is Avis and Budget. I don't know if some of you know about that company, but yeah. And then I worked there for almost 1 year. 1+ year there, and then eventually I got into mining finally after 3.5 years of struggle. And sorry, you guys can hear me? I can hear a bit of a noise in the background.
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no worries, thank you. So and then after 3.5 years of struggle, and you can imagine, I literally applied 987 job applications, and this is not a made-up number, this is a real number, because I actually created a profile here. So in Australia, there's a platform called seek.com, seek.com.au. So if you go onto that website, you can actually create your profile, and then you can start applying for companies. And as you keep on applying for jobs, it tells you how many jobs you have applied, and that is the number that I got that I applied for mining jobs. So after nearly 1,000 applications, I finally, got my luck into this good company, which is Fortescue Metals Group. And then what I did was basically I started from scratch. So you can see my career, how it started in India. I was a graduate mining engineer in 2007. But then back again, when I started my career in Australia, I jumped back into graduate engineer role again. And the only reason I did it because I wanted to put my foot into the door, So I wanted to start again my career and get into it. And then, and once you have the capacity to do something, then of course the company will recognize you and then keep you moving forward. And then after doing the program for like a year and a half, which was actually good for me as well, because in Australia there are certain rules before you can apply for a manager's ticket. And so to apply the QM ticket, I had to do a bomb crew. So actually I worked with the crew people, not with the engineers, like really on the ground, like, wiring up the shots, putting the bomb in the ground, and helping all the guys on the ground to do all this manual labor kind of job. So I did that for 6 months with the bomb crew. Then I was driving trucks as well. Meanwhile, when the automation was getting progressed in our mine, there were a couple of trucks which were manned trucks as well. So I had the opportunity to drive the trucks with the automated trucks as well. So we had a close interaction between the automated trucks and the manned trucks, and I had that opportunity of driving trucks for 6 months. And you get to know the real people, how do they struggle. because it's very easy to do your job when you sit in the office and then say, oh, this man is not doing good running cycles. But when you're actually driving the truck, or when you're actually working on the ground, the real difficulties that people struggle when they're doing the job. So it's a good opportunity to have a bit of both, to know what are the downsides or the upside of being a labor into the mining industry, and how things are hard or easy when you're actually doing your job. So I did that, and then after that 1 year, I got 6 months doing production engineering, and then I came back to the office, and then I was doing like proper production engineering for mining. So we normally make our own plans. We give to the supervisor, and then the supervisors need to make sure that the plans that we give to them, it is followed appropriately, and then the next day we have its results, whether they have achieved the target or not achieved the target. Then after doing 6 months there, and I did a couple of months, which we call as integrated planning. Is mostly, in short speaking, it is called as logistics in a very layman's terminology. So what do we do? Because we have trains here, we have ships here, there is a bit of a coordination of how the product is made, different grades of material, how it is supplied from the mine onto the trains, and from the trains onto the port stockyards, and from the port stockyard to the ships. So this whole cycle of operation with planning. So you need to make sure that every cycle in the operation is exactly as it is meant to be. Otherwise, if your product final doesn't comes to your right specifications, your customers are going to come back on you. And our biggest customers are in China as well. So basically, sending a shipment from here, then if it takes 30 days or even say 15 days and someone rejects it, and then getting it back, and there are all these kind of troubles and stuff. So that kind of role I did for like nearly 2 months. And then as I was about to finish my graduate program, like finishing off my graduate engineer role, I applied for different roles basically within the company. And then I came up to this role that is drill and blast engineer, and I worked for like 13 months there. As in saying that I will be actually starting a new role, which is a mine design engineer, and I will be starting at the end of this month, which is the 30th of June. My drill and blast engineer role, and I will be starting a new role by the end of this month. The reason, because I just had a kid and I was on my leaves basically here, and thought I should apply for a new job, and luckily got into it. So that's it. So that's my whole career portfolio. This is what I did. And as you can see, it's not only about mining, it's also about all this customer service and all this, blah, blah stuff that I had in between my actual career portfolio. And being said that as well, you can see how that company didn't even look at how people worry about past experience. They say, oh, my experience is in this department, I can't come into mining. We think a lot about experience all the time. Experience, it's about what you can do when a time is given, what you can actually achieve. If you have the capacity to achieve that, so they don't care. For 3.5 years, I was out of the mining industry. Actually appreciated it, that since I was trying to find a job, I was happy to work and do any sort of work, So it's basically as good. It's here in Australia, like if you do any other job, they don't look down at you, they actually look up at you and like really appreciate you more than, and basically it gives them the hint that you're ready to do anything pretty much. So any question on this? No questions?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, no good. And just a quick one. Can everyone hear me correctly? Is my flow okay? Am I speaking too fast, too slow? Is it okay? Understand me very clearly?
Yes, yes. Yeah, clear.
Yeah,
Okay.
we are going
No
to get you. Yes, very clear.
Okay, Mulay sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. If you have any troubles, just let me know, okay?
Oh yes, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
No worries. All right, so as I have discussed to you that my role is drill and blast engineer. So as a drill and blast engineer, I just create, drill design patterns. I do blast wire ups design. So everything is done on a computer. So we have this software that is called as Vulcan, which is an equivalent software to SURPAC. I think most of us know SURPAC as a very common mining engineer software, but Vulcan is very prominently used in Australia over here. So we use that to do our drill design patterns. Sorry. And for the blast design wire ups, So there is a new software that has been rolled by the same company that makes Vulkan. They call it as Blast Logic. So we use Blast Logic to create our design wire-ups and do all our optimization stuff and make sure the vibration is controlled within the area. Because in Australia, we have a lot of issues with the heritage sites. So heritage, speaking of which, like in India, we have this, what you call, people who have trouble when you try and mine the area. And if there are any heritage places, like say there's an old temple or an old cave or something like that, that is very prominent to people who live there. And if you try to, blast nearby, it gives vibration and it might damage the, give structural damage to the building or the cave, basically, whatever is there. So basically we make sure, like over here in Australia as well, we have the people who live in such areas are called as Aboriginals. So Aboriginals have culture here which goes back to like past 60,000 years. And they have a lot of caves and a lot of, other artifacts and other stuff lying around the mine area. So we have to make sure that we don't blast or, or fly rocks don't go and encroach their areas, or even vibrations don't affect. So there is a limitation that we have to maintain all the time, and we keep on monitoring all these numbers whenever there's a blast in those areas. So basically that's like a drill and blast optimization basically. And again, the environment and the heritage protection that I was speaking about. So in the next month, I will be starting a new role, which will be mine design engineer. So I really don't know what is involved in that role, pretty much. But on the top of my head, I know that it is all about pit optimization with wall control. So wall control in mining over here, we try to make sure that our walls are designed in such a way that if someone is trying to work below that wall, the walls don't crack and collapse on someone who's working down. So it has to be looked from the first stage itself, which is the mine design stage itself. So this is some of the basic stuff that we start to do while doing this mine design engineer role. Then again, there's a pit design, how the roads are going to go, what is the most optimistic way of approaching a mine, and making it more economical, more beneficial. And then doing some dump designs and doing road designs and all the stuff that is involved in that role. So as I said, the tools that we use is Vulkan, which is equivalent to Serpac, then Blast Logic, which is for drill and blast data management, and Surface Miner. So Surface Miner is something because, I told you that all the rigs that we use here are automated rigs. So when you do your designs, you have to transfer your data so that the rigs can actually read the data and basically where it knows where they have to locate the position to. So we don't mark anything on the ground. So basically every data is fed into the rigs and they automatically go at a certain distance and put the whole right bang on the spot basically. So the Surface Manager is one of the smallest software that we use for data conversion. And then I even get to fly drones sometimes. So post-blast management is one of the things that we do, is we just fly the drones and see how the heave of the blast was, how the fragmentation was, and all those kind of stuff that we. So drones is one of the tools that we use as well. All right. Any questions regarding that? All right. No worries. I will take that silence as a no. So coming here to the most interesting part for which all are here now. Sorry for talking a lot about myself, but let's talk to the cream of the crop basically now. All right, so Australian mining industry. So to talk about Australian mining industry, as I said, one of the reasons why I came to Australia was, because Australia is the hub of mining basically. Like people make their careers, make their livelihoods, and really, mining is something that is very much looked forward in Australia basically. Because giving an example, when I studied diploma in India, before I studied degree, I did a diploma as well. And when I did mining, everyone asked me why are you doing mining? You have to go and live in such and such place. And many people gave me very discouraging ideas about mining. So opposed to that, when you are in Australia and you say mining, and people take it as wow, okay, you're doing mining. So there's a very positive aspect to mining when you speak about Australian mining industry. And the good thing for the boys is even girls are allowed to do mining engineering, So you're not sitting in a desert like in college, where you don't have any girls, and you feel oh, this is such a boring life here. But in Australia, no, you get that opportunity. You stick around the nice crowd and do your studies and then become an engineer and then work around with, opposite gender. So this is one of the positive aspects for many of the students. I think I might be before joining into mining industry in Australia. So Australian mining engineers. So starting salaries before tax and superannuation, it's nearly 110 to 180,000, which is roughly 55 lakhs to 90 lakhs per annum. And different types of fields which you can progress your career into, which is drill and blast engineering, production engineering, mine design engineering. Then again, you have like weekly, monthly, yearly planning. And opposed to that, there is also life of mine. And there are various other, industries like sub-industries, basically. Even you can get into survey if you like, you want to do geology for some time. So the company in which I am working at the moment, it's very, very flexible. So if you say, for example, oh, you know what, I want to do geology for this time. So they will just create a temporary role for you. They will call it as a secondment. And they will say, okay, Nazim, you go and do a secondment role for 6 months. Do whatever you want to do, study whatever you want to study, and then come back to your role. So, there are many opportunities, mostly in mining, because there are so many people applying for these roles, and there are still a shortage of people, especially the drill and blast engineers. So the panel in which I was working, like in my company, so I will tell you how what is lifestyle in mining, so you will get to know what I'm speaking about. So the panel in which I'm working, there are always 2 engineers in every panel. So when I say panel is because I work 8 days on a mine site, and then I get 6 days off. And when I'm off for 6 days, there's another panel of engineers who come and take my place and sit at my spot and do the job for the 8 days. So the 8th day in between is like our catch-up day or our handover day. So whatever we did for a week, we explain to the other set of engineers and tell them this is what is expected, this is what bad happened, this is what could happen. And then we exchange our ideas, we exchange our plans, and then we take off. They come over, they do their stuff. And this pattern continues. So this lifestyle is also called as fly in, fly out lifestyle. So basically you fly in on your mine site. On a Wednesday is a normal mining fly in, fly out day here in Australia. So you fly out on that day, you speak to other engineers, they go out, you come in. So yeah, sorry, I was going off a bit. So yeah, in my panel, when I started doing this role, so there was no other engineer. They couldn't find anyone else. So you can imagine how much shortage it was. So finally, they had to give a role to some student who actually came to Australia to study, And then eventually she got into mining, and then she's a Sri Lankan lady. And then, yeah, she got the opportunity, she got a chance. She came here to do her master's, and now she was doing drill and blast engineer. So for 1 year, I was doing this role on my own, and then I got someone else. And then meanwhile, I applied for another job. And now again, they are struggling to find any other drill and blast engineer. So speaking of which, what I want to tell you is that there is still shortage of skilled people here in Australia. And that gives us a very positive sign that we can start applying and looking for, such opportunities. So how to tap into these opportunities, I will tell you eventually as we progress towards this webinar. All right. So yeah, as the mining lifestyle, as I told, fly in, fly out. So I fly into the mine, I fly out for 8 days, I get 6 days off, and then I fly back again. Residential role is something similar that we have a pattern in India as well. Like, how there are camps and family camps. So you take and you go there with your family, you live there with your family, and then you go in the morning, you go to the mine site, do your job, and come back in the evening. So that's basically a residential role. So now different companies have different structures or way of, how they set up their rosters. So it depends what chance you get to get into it. And another is drive in and drive out. So say, for example, if you are living in a city and there is a small mine that is like really close by to you, so basically you can just drive in the morning, do your job, and then come back to your home in the city. So that's drive in, drive out. And then there are again regular jobs, Monday to Friday, which are normally in the city jobs. So if you're doing planning or something, you not necessarily have to be on the site. You can actually be in the office and get your job done. So that's called as a regular kind of a roster. So roster pattern is 8 and 6, the one that I do, which is 8 days of work, 6 days of holidays. Some mines have 9 days of work, 5 days of holidays. Some mines have 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. So you're on the mine site for 2 weeks, and then they fly you back to your home, and then you're off for 2 weeks, and then they take you back again. on-site lifestyle, you get everything pretty much. There are gym, there are pools, your food and accommodation is all paid off. So the only thing is that you just go there and work for 12 hours a day. So your shift starts with 6 o'clock and you end at 6 o'clock. So that's the only commitment that you need to make with the company and for your week's time, and that's it. Apart from that, you have your own life. They get all those activities on the mine. There's something similar like we have in Indian mines. Like I have done some of my training and I was working in India as well. So they used to have a lot of, like celebrations and all those other. Of course, it's with the Australian culture, not with the Indian culture, of course. But yeah, they have their own stuff which they keep on doing, and you just get some off time as well. And Middle East mining industry. So speaking of Middle East mining industry, because I worked there for almost 6 years there. So 6 years, if you say in Middle East mining engineer, starting salaries before tax is nearly 50,000 dirhams to 120,000 dirhams. So it's been 6 years now. So I don't know what is the current salary structure there in Middle East, but I'm pretty sure it must be somewhere around that figure line, because I just bumped up some of the numbers there to just match with the current scenario of mining industry there. As far as limited career is concerned, there is a limited career progression in Middle East, and one of the reasons is because you all know that Middle East is very popular for oil industry and not for mining industry. So in Middle East, if you try to find a job in an oil industry, you might get it very easily. But if you try and find a job for the mining, it is a bit on and off, because when I was in Dubai, so the only mines that were there was basically quarry. It's limestone quarry, and there were a few of silica quarries, but that's about it. There's nothing else. In Bahrain and Qatar, I think you'll find the similar scenario. Oman is one of the countries, and Saudi Arabia. So these two countries are the ones that have a lot of minerals, and they have gold, they have copper, they have of course silica and all those other different kinds of commodities there, which can give you a bit more chance than any other Middle East country. So Saudi Arabia and Oman. But again, saying that a lot of my friends who are culturally not very well versed with Saudi Arabia and Oman, they might find a bit of reluctancy to go there and live there, because like in Indian cultures, a lot many different religions believe in having a vegan diet, and when you go to Saudi Arabia and Oman, you will find it very, very hard to find such kind of meals, and and struggle with all these kinds of day-to-day living. So sometimes this lifestyle, so you might get a job, but you might not necessarily get a lifestyle, and the kind of education that you want to pursue for your kids, for your family, and other stuff. So it might be a bit of a struggle, and it's not for everyone, pretty much, I would say. But yeah, certainly, if you can't find nothing, if something is still better than nothing, So yeah, so Middle East also is one of the popular hotspot when the mining industry is really booming there. And so the reason I said limited career progression is one of the reasons, because mining is not very prominent in Middle East. It's only for oil-based, like the crude oil company. So it's good for them, but not good for mining engineers. Mining lifestyle is mostly residential, so that's what I had. So I was living there, doing a Monday to Friday. Sorry, no, there's not a Monday to Friday. It's like Sunday to Thursday or Saturday to Thursday, because Friday is considered as a off day. Like in India, we have Saturday, Sunday off. They have Friday and Saturday off there. And then again, you get 30 days of annual leave and other facilities and perks. It depends on company to company. Some companies are really small companies, and they might even not give you anything. They will just pay you, and then you do everything on your own. You get your own house, you look for your own food and other stuff. Some companies might offer you everything. So it depends on what you negotiate, what you get, and what perks you can ask when you actually apply or get the job, All right, so any questions?
Is there a good work-life balance in there? Because in India, the private companies literally don't have that work-life balance.
Yeah, I would say in Middle East, the company in which I was working, there wasn't a good. I mean, It depends what work-life balance you'd say, because it might suit you. For you, you might be thinking, oh, this is a good work-life balance. But for someone else in the same situation or having a bit of a different scenario, he might think, oh, this is rubbish for me. So it depends like what you're looking for as well. So say, for example, the company in which I was working, I had a family. I was living with my family. Whenever I used to go home, I'd go home. But yeah, of course, there was some sort of limitation of what shifts you can do and what things you can do and what cannot do. So there are definitely, it's not as flexible as in Australia, but I think it depends on company to company. But if you heard about Amaden company in Saudi Arabia, I think they have a bit of a good family, work and life balance. But it depends again on company to company. But to answer your question in short, I would say no in Middle East.
Okay, so do you think that is it really worthy to go fly to Australia and find a job and struggle for 3 or 4 years that you have experienced rather than finding a job in our home country?
Yeah, of course. I
Is
will
it
come
really
back.
worthy?
I will come back to that. Okay, I will come back to that. Yeah, it's a good question, and yeah, just remind me if I don't answer you that question throughout my presentation. But definitely, I have actually prepared for this question, and I will answer you in the meanwhile.
Oh, okay, sir.
All right.
Sir, what are the difference between Indian mining and other foreign mining?
Indian mining and foreign mining. Now, when you say foreign, there is a lot of foreign involving. So, number one, I would say, statutory-wise, like rules and regulations-wise, India is very good, but not in Middle East. So, Middle East, they have very, limited rules and regulations when it comes to mining industry. As I said, mining is not prominent in those countries. But if you say about Australia, there are extremely strict rules that they have to follow, including one of the guys who asked me the question about, work and family lifestyle. So they also look after that and make sure that you're always happy and, you're not looking to change because over here, the people will literally sue a company just because they think, oh, I just slipped from a carpet while walking in the campsite. So they have to make sure that the lifestyle and everything they provide is very much safe and everyone is happy within that environment. But if you go into the Middle East and other countries, I can't speak of other countries because I haven't been to Africa. I think Amit will speak about it, and also in I think Colombia as well. But as far as Middle East, I don't think it's a very good. See, when you want to start your career, I would say, yeah, definitely go for it. Like most of the graduates, when they pass out from the college, they are bachelors. They don't have a family to look after. They can go there, work for a couple of years, make a good start, and then come back or apply for some other countries.
So the safety factor in Australia is much more than Indian mines.
Sorry, what is it?
I said the safety factor of the workers is much more than Indian mines, because in Indian mines, even in the Coal India, the companies that are under Coal India have regular accidents that keep going, and a track record of them is kept every year.
Yeah, correct. So see, the thing is, I would say over here it's very, very safe. I haven't heard, a mining disaster. I mean, mining disasters do happen here in Australia as well, but it's very, very less. And if you hear about it, it's like a very, very big deal. So you can't just say, yesterday this mine collapsed and 2 people dead, and you're looking into it. No, it doesn't happen that way. It comes to even if one man dies, they might even close your whole mine site. They won't care how many people are working, for how long the company was, what was the reputation of the company. Now, even if that's why safety is like a number one priority here in Australia. It's extremely safe.
The government is really strict on the mines.
Absolutely, yeah. You will literally lose a job even if you don't take a correct pathway while you're crossing the road. So if there are zebra crossings, so say for example, if you are living in a camp, you're not even working at the mine site, but if you don't use a zebra crossing for crossing the road, and if something happens or even someone sees you, you might get a written warning, or you might even end up losing your job. So they are so strict, because at the end of the day, if anything happens to you, it's not only about you, it's also about the company. So they always make sure that you do the right thing before the company does the right stuff for you,
So what do you think about the Canadian jobs?
For Canadian jobs, I have no idea, but I think they are as well as good as Australian mining. Like as far as rules and regulations are concerned, they are also very top notch.
Sir, one more question. It's a bit personal.
Yeah, sure.
Job opportunities
Sir,
are
did you get the PR in Australia till now?
Yeah, job opportunities. Yes, they are. Like as I was saying, if you would have heard me correctly when I started this presentation, that I was doing this drill and blast engineering role, and they were struggling to find drill and blast engineers. So a student.
So, did you get the PR permanent residency of Australia till now?
Sorry?
Did you get the PR permanent residency of Australia till now?
Yeah, so when I applied for Australian migration, I applied for a permanent residency. I am a citizen of Australia now. I got my citizenship last year.
So is it easy to get citizenship in Australia like Canada? Like you can go and if you get a job, you can settle there.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, you have to. The only thing is that you have to spend number of years in living here, and you know. So if you hit I think 4 years minimum, then you can apply for your application and get it through. Yeah.
Okay.
So getting the PR is one of the most important thing. If you get your PR, then everything else falls in the line, basically.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what happens because in lots of countries, you work for 10 years, even in the Middle East, you don't get the PR. You just have to keep working and you have to renew your.
Correct. And that was one of the reasons why I moved away from Middle East, because I know if somehow if I lose my job and if my whole family is living there, they have this school, they have this kids, you know, it's not only about us, like when we are doing job, it's also about our families involved. You know, if your kid is going to a school and they have all these friends for like say 5 or 6 years, and all of a sudden you lose your job, it's not only you who is affected, it's your family as well.
Yes, sir. One of my uncle have worked in Qatar for 7 years. He didn't even got a PR. He have to just renew his visa every year.
Yeah, that is correct. So you never ever get people have lived there for 30 years and they never got even a permanent residency or anything. So that's the rule of the country because it's not democratic country, you know.
Yeah.
Middle Eastern countries, they are not democratic. They don't have these days like what do you call it? Like emperorship, or you know, there are like kings and queens over there. So yeah, exactly. So they have their own rules. So whatever they say is the
master's part.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Sir, can we, as in India, private companies have bond for 2 to 3 years? In Australia, what's the condition?
In Australia, you have no bonds. You're free to go anywhere. Yeah.
And sir, and if we are working in Australia and we want to apply for Indian jobs like CCL, WCL, so
yeah, you can do that. Yeah. If I want to come back to India now, I can come. Yeah.
Factor in India, sir, especially for the government.
Sir, we are totally new in mining field, and we are not much trained, and we have not very much proficient. So how can we get job in Australia as far as mining job is concerned? And how can we make our resume good for getting job in Australia?
Yeah, I will come to that question as well for you. But to answer your question shortly, number one is is to develop our own personality. How we present ourselves is the number one factor. Because see, at the end of the day, you finish your engineering, you do whatever academic side of things that you need to do. But when it comes to your own personality development, you know, it's up to you how you carve yourself, how you brush yourself, you know. So basically, number one thing that I would say is language. Language is the biggest factor that you need to work on, you know, like everyone, I would say, regardless of who it is, because of course we are proud of a language, like we speak Hindi, like मैं हिंदी बोलता हूँ, of course हम सभी लोग बोलते हैं, but हम लोग कभी ये नहीं सोचते कि हम लोग को कोई और language भी आना चाहिए, क्योंकि language is it's not only something that we say everything, it's also a tool, you know, you can use it to your advantage. अभी जैसे कि तुम लोगों को पता होगा कि भाई किसी पुलिस वाले ने पकड़ लिया, अच्छा महाराष्ट्र में पकड़ लिया, तो चलो मराठी में बात करो, उसको फिर छोड़ देगा, चलो कहीं दूसरे स्टेट में पकड़ लिया, उसकी जुबान में बात करो, तो फिर वो इम्प्रेस होके हम लोग को, ऐसे क्यों होता है? कोई बता सकता है ऐसे क्यों होता है?
So the communication is the key factor, sir. You have to communicate well.
Oh, you can communicate in English and he would still understand, but why is it only when you speak in that
it
language?
Sounds more familiar.
Attachment to the native
language.
Correct.
There is an emotional attachment to that, you know, like there is some kind of a connection that language brings to you. So if you are going into, say, Middle East countries, like of course you would never know how to speak Arabic. I never knew how to speak Arabic. But then English is a very common language. We study in English, you know. and all like since our schooling we have been studying English, but how effectively have we ever focused on, yeah, I need to focus on my language, you know, I need to start reading books, I need to start reading newspaper. These are also very small things, you know. No one would tell you at the university level, oh, come on, go and read that book, you know, it's good for your language development. Who tells you that? Nobody. You just go open a rock mechanics book and then start studying. That's it. That's the end of your chapter, you know. But this is one of the you know, key factor in, you know, developing yourself, because your self development is one of the key factors in getting a job. I will tell you guys one quick thing about my own experience, you know, how I got a job in Lafarge when I had my campus placement. Okay, so to start with, when the college campus placement came, like I was an average student, like even you'd say me, I was a below average student. But the thing was, like, I always, you know, like, look forward to see what other people want. It's not necessarily what you want in your life. You should also see what other people want from you. And if you can present that, you should sell yourself as a product in the market, you know. If you can't sell yourself as a product in the market, nobody is going to buy you. So when I got this job, what happened was, so there was some official thing that whatever happened between Lafarge and the training placement officer, which was Atul Dixit sir, during that time. So they said, okay, we want 10 students from you, so send your 10 toppers and we will interview them. And then I think there was another college in Raipur, I can't remember the name of the college, and they requested 10 students from the other college, and they called all of them, and 10 students from there, 10 students from us, so 20 students come all together. We will interview, and when we like one of you, we'll select 4 candidates basically. So 2 from your college and 2 from other college. So everything happened, and then of course my name wasn't on the list because I wasn't in the top 10, you know. And Atul Dixit sir, actually he said me, Nazim, would you like to give it a try? And I was never interested basically. So he just said, okay, don't worry, because I've been knowing you for so long. I was actually surprised that you didn't get a chance. I said, sir, my academics is not as good as my extracurricular activities. So I know, like, other department professors and teachers knew me just because of my extracurricular, but nobody knew me about my academics, you know, because I wasn't good at it. So he said, okay, don't worry, I will just talk to the HR guys and you just go and do your interview. So I wasn't very happy then, because I said, like, no, I don't want this to happen because of, yeah, if ever I will do anything in my life, I will do because of my own capability. I don't want anyone's influence. So you're like, no, I'm not trying to influence you for the job. It is just for the interview, so you get a chance to go and speak something and just see, you know, it's also a mock interview for you. Even if you don't pass it, you still get a chance to see how interviews happen and stuff like that. So, and I still couldn't make up my mind, okay? So I was still like, yeah, okay, so I will try. But in the back of my mind, I was still determined that I will never go for that interview. And then one day, like, I think 2 or 3 days before the interview, I was just, you know, as usual, I used to bunk a lot of lectures, so I was bunking my lecture and sitting in a canteen drinking my tea, and then Atul Dixit sir with one of the other sir, I think he was Sheikh sir in civil engineer, I don't know if he's still there. But yeah, they both were sitting and having a chat, and then they saw me, so Atul Dixit sir called me again and asked me, like, so you ready, all set to go for the interview? I said, no sir, I still haven't made up my mind. And then Atul Dixit sir said, मैं देखो भाई, कम से कम मेरी इज्जत रखने के लिए तुम जाओ, मैंने अभी तुम्हारे लिए बात की है, तो कम से कम एटलीस्ट उसके लिए आप जाओ. तो मैंने फिर सोचा, चलो, like, at least for his sake I will go. And I really respected him. Like, he's a very good, you know, like, he personally approached me and gave me this opportunity, so I will always be thankful to him for this chance, you know. And then I happened to go to this interview. So, you know, on the journey night, so basically it was a night journey from, so we had to catch a train from Nagpur and then go to Raipur, and then we had our interviews there. So every other student was, you know, opening their books and reading through all this engineering stuff, and literally I was the guy who was sleeping in the train. Because I was so much thinking that I will never get this job, so what is the point of putting all this effort and, you know, going for the interview? So I just slept the whole night. I woke up very fresh in the morning, nicely dressed, and everyone was like, you know, studying and so much nervous, and I was like really chilled out about all this, all that situation. And then the interview started. So they started interviewing from the toppers. So they called the topper number 1 from, I think, from the other college first, and then the topper number 1 from our college, and then the second topper from other college, and second topper. and then they kept. So in that sequence, so I was the 11th candidate, so which made me the 21st candidate of the whole interview. So basically, I was the last one to be interviewed. And everyone was like literally studying in the room. And then that started to make me a bit nervous. So I was like, okay, chalo, come say, sharam ke liye tu kitab pad ke do char sawal pooch lete hain. So because when the toppers started to come back, we started to ask them, okay, what question are they asking, and all that kind of stuff. So I was having that kind of preparation, asking different question from all this first topper, then the second topper came, and the third topper. So by the time 7th or 8th topper came, I pretty much knew what was the expectation of the interview. So that was my whole preparation for the interview, like honestly speaking. And then I went for the interview, and the number one thing that I noticed. So there was this guy who was sitting. So there were 3 people who were interviewing. Okay, just listen to this very carefully. So there was this guy in HR, okay, human resource. And then there was the vice president who was interviewing, who was going to ask the HR question, but he wasn't the HR, but he was going to ask me HR questions. And then there was a mine manager who was a Bengali basically. So he was the one, and the vice president and the HR guy. The HR guy, what was his job was just to look on the face of the participant or the candidate basically. So as soon as I entered the door, he was right away looking at my face. By the time I was sitting, and throughout the whole interview, he did nothing. He did not ask me a single. The only thing he did was look at my face. Just look at my face and giving me this nervous look that I'm fumbling, or I don't know what he was trying to break of my answers, but this was the kind of look that he gave me. And then I said, and I literally, of him, I just imagined that he doesn't exist for me. So I was only interviewing 2 people, because if I start looking at him, he will try to make me nervous. So I never ever looked at him. And then the question and answer session happened, and he asked me not many questions about, what do I do, what are my ambitions, and so and so. And I already had made another pathway for me, because I knew that at some point I will never ever, get a college placement. So I already applied for a job in Hyderabad. Not a job in Hyderabad. A safety course in Hyderabad. You might be knowing the Nikmar institution, which is very famous for, I think, safety and other courses. So I applied for it. I got selected in that. So as soon as I finished my degree, I had to go there and start studying there. So that was my main ambition. So really, this Lafarge interview was just another gig for me, basically. And then, the interview happened, and then he asked me. So I said, sir, see, this is what my pathway is. If I don't get into mining, this is what I've selected. And I did really well in NICMA. I think I got like second top in those QA questions and stuff. So I said that this is what I have achieved in, and I said I'm very average student. I'm very good in extracurricular activities, and I can stand in front of 1,000 people and then speak whatever I want to speak. I'm not afraid of doing that. And then eventually they started to get more and more, like getting into the flow of the interview, and the question and answers started happening. And then there was this technical question round that came from the mine manager. So of course, because I was an average student, it doesn't mean I didn't know any answers. I knew some answers. And then he asked me a couple of questions. I answered him honestly. And I still remember there were 3 questions intermittently that were asked, and I didn't know its answer. But I didn't lie to him. Number one thing, always remember, in your interview, never ever lie or just fake for the sake of saying the answer. Because the guy who is interviewing you is not only judging you what answers you're giving. You can find out the answers. You don't necessarily need to know the answers right then. But as far as you have the capacity to be honest about what you know and what you don't know, sometimes that is one of the key factors while you're interviewing. And then I honestly tell them, I honestly told him that I'm really sorry, I don't know the answer for this question, but maybe after the interview I can find out and come back to you. And throughout this process, they said, okay, that's fine. And there was some, like हम लोग को कॉलेज में थोड़ा बहुत फंडा मारने की आदत होती है, तो ऐसे मैंने कुछ बोला था क्या, yeah sir, I just need a spark to ignite myself. कॉलेज के टाइम में हम लोग को थोड़ा डायलॉग मारने की आदत होती है, तो ऐसे ही मैंने बोला था. तो and they were like pretty happy about it. They were like, okay, he's a very outgoing guy and he should be all right. But I didn't knew then, of course. And then I came back from the interview and everything happened, and Atul Dixit sir asked me like, how was it? Was everything okay? And then apparently, at the start they said they will select 2 students from our college, and then 2 students from another college, and then they might have another round of interview, and then finally they will select maybe 1 student from us and 1 student from the other college. But then that never happened, and then they selected me. So I was the 11th, 11th guy from the college, and who got this job in Lafarge. So speaking of which, it's never the academics that is going to put you before, because see, if you have finished your engineering, the company knows that this guy has the capacity to do what he has done, and while doing your job, it's never going to be all the subjects that you're going to face through, correct? So the normal challenges that you'll come across in your day-to-day life, you can learn through while you're journeying. That's why we call it an experience. Why do they call it experience? यार तुम्हारे पास कोई experience नहीं, तुमको क्यों काम? कोई ये नहीं पूछता भाई तुम्हारे पास डिग्री नहीं, डिग्री तो तभी पूछेगा डिग्री आपके पास ओके, डिग्री होने के बाद फिर लोग क्या देखते हैं? एक्सपीरियंस देखते हैं. सो एक्सपीरियंस ही चीज़ होती है जो ये सब चीज़ हम लोग को सिखाती है ना. So that's why I always focus on how to promote yourself as a product to those companies, because of course companies are also there to make money. They're not just there to sit and so they always try and find the cream of the crop, and cream of the crop doesn't necessarily mean to be the topper. It could be anyone, like it could be second topper, and why not, it could be first topper, and someone who has been very good in academics, who can has a good way of talking with people, who has a good body language. Of course they can and these kinds of people will of course do better in their lives and their careers and stuff like that. So that's what my whole career story is. So any questions with it?
So one more question. It keeps buzzing in my head.
Yeah.
You just said that there's a lot of opportunities in Australia. As you said, there are no alternate engineers, so it was very hard to find. You have to work alone in Australia. But on the other hand, you said that you filled 987 applications.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, but that was during the recession time. Okay. So what happened during that time? They started to just get job. दो आदमी का job एक आदमी से करवा लो, ऐसे रहता है. Because there was a recession, of course they don't want to hire a lot of people, because what happens when you are in recession, it's not, your production also comes down. So the amount of the amount of job that you do on a day-to-day basis has also reduced. So what happens? You don't need two people now. You need only one people. So why would they look for other people? And that's what happened. And then what happens is, normally when there is so much saturation in the market, when there are so many engineers available who want to find job, and then you're one of those guys who only has Indian and UAE experience, they will only give preference to people who already has Australian experience. And there are already so many people sitting in the market without jobs with Australian experience. So why would they pick up me, But when there was a flood of jobs, when the market opened, when the boom opened up, and then all the people got the jobs, new companies came up, and then they started to find struggle for people, and that's why I just got in. So it also depends on what time you apply. So your timing also needs to be very correct as well.
Okay, so you are saying that a master's in Australia is always worthy because they will prefer more.
A master's?
In Australia.
What do you mean by master's? Like as an education?
Education, of course.
Yeah, of course. Like any sort of higher education is always higher not only in Australia and anywhere around the world. Like if there is a BTech and there is a master's in India as well, of course they will go for a master's guy unless he is very overqualified for the job. Then they might think, oh no, you're overqualified. But otherwise, yeah, of course, a master's will always be a master. That's why it's called as master's. And if it wouldn't be for the higher sake, why would anyone do master's,
So can we say job opportunities for masters much higher than bachelor?
In Australia or in general?
Yes, sir. In Australia and in general as well.
No, again, being said that, when you do masters, you are basically just doing an engineering with a specialization. Correct? So basically, you are again limiting yourself to what you are trying to get into. Say, for example, when you do your masters, there is a scope of an expertise involved in your education, if I'm not wrong, correct? When people do, because I haven't done master, I don't know really what is involved, but as far as I know, there is a specialization attached to your master's degree, correct? Has anyone done masters here?
No, sir, we are just...
None of you have done masters. Sorry?
Where have you done your masters?
Sorry, I can't hear you clearly, sorry.
Hello, sir.
Okay, anyways, so
Hello?
I can't hear. Hello, yeah.
So, what do you think for next 5 years, what are the opportunities?
Yeah,
Australia,
I will
particularly in
get
Australia.
into that. I think we are going ahead of the flow. But I will definitely, you can write this question next to you, and if you think that I haven't answered this question, you can answer me more question based on where you're going. So this is not the end of it. This is just in the middle of this. All right. So has anyone heard the story of
My friend
of
said that
strawberry ice?
he
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Hello. Yeah. Yes.
hello. Hello, my friend. He have PR Australia. He'll get easily job.
No,
Do
not
you think,
necessarily.
right?
So PR is only your status of being in a country. So it's speaking of it. Okay, being an Indian, would you get a mining engineer job? No, you need a degree or you need every other stuff as well. PR is only something related to your residential status. It doesn't naturally qualify you to get a job into mining or anything. I mean, yes, if there are applicants, just a normal work visa or student visa, if they apply and you apply, yeah, you might get a chance because your visa criteria is fulfilled. But that's the only thing. It doesn't naturally qualify you to get a mining job straight away or something like that.
वो YouTube पे कुछ कमेंट्स आए हैं वो
Okay. Actually, he's in Adelaide, sir.
कुछ कमेंट्स
Sorry, who's in Adelaide?
Actually, my friend is in Adelaide. He's saying that
Uh-huh.
he applied a number of jobs in mining.
Okay.
Residence. If you get PR, give
कमेंट्स
go train.
क्या
Sorry, your voice is cutting up. So if you get PR, what did you say?
उन्होंने रिमूव कर दिया रिट्रैक्ट
Bro, just check on
Give job. They are saying actually in project.
He's saying if you get
Can
a
you
PR,
type?
he's saying
Yeah.
if you get a PR, then would they give a preference to you other than who don't have a PR?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, as I said, like if there is a student visa guy who applies for a job, and then you have a PR, then of course, so PR only validates a criteria, not basically to get a job. Basically, it's just a criteria that fulfills you. So, for 18 plus, can you apply for army? Or if you're below 18 years of age, can you apply for army? It's that kind of a criteria, All 18 plus years would be getting a job or would be getting into military, you know what I mean? So similarly, having a PR, yes, it gives you, it ticks off one box that, okay, he can apply for an Australian job. So that's a criteria of ticking off, basically. It has nothing to do with your any other kind of status to get you into mining. One of the easiest way, but it's not the only way.
Sir, as in India, there is age limit for application of any job for government companies. So, what's the condition in Australia and other?
There is no limitation. I think 16 years or maybe even 13 years, I think is the job limitation, or 13 or 14 years. Because here in the supermarkets, you will see like really young kids. They work up in at the supermarkets and all that other stuff. So even like people who are studying engineering and they come here for vacation program, so they are allowed to be on the mine site and do all those kind of normal work activities. So I think I should say 13 or 14 years. I think you can find this
He's
legal
asking about
requirements.
the upper limit, not the lower
Upper
limit.
limit, yes, sir.
Upper
That's the
limit.
minimum age, yes.
I think up to 70 years.
In India, because if you
30,
want to apply in
33.
coal India,
Yeah.
general caste upper limit is at the age of 30.
No. Here there is nothing. Even if you are 70 years old, you can apply for it as far as you are not in your retirement stage. You can apply even at 60 years of age or 65 years of age. It doesn't matter. There's
That's
no
a good
limitation
sign
on
to
how you
move
want to work
interrupting a
in any sort of job.
That's good sign to move to Australia.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Hello.
So are you saying that you're very old or what?
No, no, no. 22 just.
No, okay. Okay, no worries. 22 is not just a number. You already wasted 24. I mean, not wasted. Basically, you spent 22 years. Okay,
Yes,
no
sir,
worries.
we
Man,
have
I'm
wasted
just
the
kidding
time.
with you. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So why you did mining engineering?
Why I did mining engineering?
Yes.
Why I did? Oh my God, that's a very challenging question. Why I did? I could never answer that question for myself. Why I did mining engineering? So
Was
honestly
it your
speaking,
decision
I
or
yeah. No. I always wanted to do engineering, but my first preference was doing computer engineering. I always wanted to, get into this programming kind of stuff. So if you see me as a personality, I'm a very short little guy. And if you see me like in India, like एक छोटा सा लड़का यहाँ पे mining में कैसे घुस गया ऐसे लोग बोलते थे मुझे.
No,
तो
sir, in underground mines, small guys have a benefit.
हाँ वही बात है पर मैं यहाँ पे अंडरग्राउंड में नहीं करता हूँ ना.
Sir, as in you said that
But
22 years age is so much. तो इंडिया में जगह ही नहीं निकल रही है, वैकेंसी नहीं निकल रही है, तो उसका कैसा?
मुश्किल है उसकी भी बात करेंगे हम. उसकी भी बात करेंगे. मैं बताऊंगा तुमको कैसे पाथवे करना है, क्या क्या ट्रिक्स है, क्या क्या आइडियाज है. ओके, सबके पास टाइम है ना, ऐसे तो नहीं कि मैं बहुत स्लो जा रहा हूँ या बहुत ही.
Nazim sir, I would like to interrupt
sir,
here. Please.
No, sir, हम लोग बोर ही होते हैं सर ऑनलाइन क्लास कर दोगे, सो आप आ जाएं, इट्स वेरी ऑनर्ड.
ओके, नहीं तो कभी कभी ऑनलाइन सुन के भी लोग बोर हो जाते हैं कि शक्ल देखने नहीं मिलती, तो बंदे को पता नहीं कैसे दिखता है, क्या बोलता है.
Actually, sir, we want.
Yeah.
Hello. Actually, sir, we want an ideal answer. Means, why do we want to be a mining engineer? Because in every interview there is a question like this: why do you
Okay.
want to be a mining engineer? And we are unable to answer that question because we don't have any idea why do we want to be a mining engineer. So
Okay.
I am expecting an ideal answer from your side.
All right. So basically, you want to answer your interview question through myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
first tell us
See,
like why you
I think it is always, when you answer a question, you answer in an open-ended way. You know what is an open-end answer or an open-end question? So, so open-end question is, for example, the answer for which always becomes only yes or no or maybe. But when you say open-end, you give more chance for someone to get into the conversation. So, for example, if I ask you, okay, are you, I will ask you, okay, you are a male. So what you will say? Yes, correct? So that is the answer only that you can give me. But if I say you, okay, as a male, what do you think are your capabilities while you do a job in mining industry? Then you may be having, like lot many answers, or, being a male, I can do this, I can do that, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so by saying that, I'm not downsiding the woman factor in this one. I'm just trying to give an example based on the question that you asked me. But saying of which, when someone asks you a question, why do you want to become a mining engineer? Always give them an answer that will give them a chance to open up a conversation in an open-ended way. So just tell them like, okay, mining engineer. Tell them mining, or you can be very honest. Like if you never really wanted to do, you can be even funny. Like यार माँ बाप ने बस भेज दिया करने के लिए, तो कुछ तो कर रहे, but फिर भी अच्छा ही कर रहे हैं. ऐसे बोल दो. So nobody wants an answer which is like very professional. Sometimes you can create a very friendly conversation with the guy who's interviewing you. So not necessarily you have to be very funny as well or very professional as well. It depends when you look at a person who is asking a question, what is his motto? So number one is face reading of the person who is interviewing you, how he is. Sometimes some people are very flexible. Some people just expect you, out of the box answer, not necessarily to be very professional. Or, so I want you to be a mining engineer because I think I have many more ideas to, how to make profit for the company, be more optimistic towards. I have a very good approach towards you. I have good engineering skills. I'm very good at maths. All these skills are definitely going to help me become a good mining engineer. Why not? So that's why I thought I should give it a try, and maybe I can be helpful to your company in a much better way than other engineers are working for you. So maybe something like that, there's no specific answer to this question. If you ask me the same question for the next interview, I might say something else. If you ask me for the third time, I will say something else. So there is no standard answer to such questions. So just as the flow of the interview happens, you have to answer it accordingly. Is that
So
helpful?
what kind of problem? kind of problem you faced while you are shifting to Australia? Especially I'm talking about language, because whenever you are moving to Australia, English is a major concern.
So difficulties, I think. See, when you apply for Australia, there is a point system. So basically, you have to achieve certain points, okay, before you can actually apply for. So I don't know, because during my time it was 60-point limit. So 60 point is based on your age, based on your experience, based on your based on your language. So if you gather the number of points, the more chance of you to be accepted for the visa application. So, like honestly speaking, I never had any sort of difficulty because I waited for the right time. So the good age for applying for Australian visa, I think it's between 27 to 32. So that's the age limit where you get the highest points as well. So I will at the end of this webinar, I will send you some links and stuff, how to how to apply and how to process and see if there is actually a website where you can actually go and check your what you call the criteria of your requirements, whether you fulfill those criteria or how much points you can get. So you can actually go and do that test for yourself as well and find out what how easy it is for you. But yeah, so there's an age factor between 27 to 32 where you get the highest points. If you have more than 5 years of experience, you get higher points and all this kind of stuff and criteria.
Sir, what do you think about if we do masters, and what average time should we will we need to apply for the job and like get a job? Do you have to hustle a lot or something?
Do we have to what? Sorry. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sorry. Can you repeat?
Sir, means I was planning for masters in Canada or Australia. So if we are going through that, and how much time will it take to apply for jobs and get a job, and is it very difficult?
Honestly speaking, like I can actually get to the question, so everyone I can tell you this answer, because it's happening in the next few slides, how to apply and how much time does it take and what you need to do and all that kind of stuff. If you're happy to wait for that, I will be coming on that slide in the meanwhile, okay?
Nazim,
Yes, sir, please
interrupting
continue.
a bit, please continue with your presentation. Because
Okay,
we'll have combined question and answer session after Amit speaks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No worries. I think my slide had this title says any question, so I think everyone was confused about asking questions about the career. But basically,
please go
when I
ahead with
meant
your
any question,
presentation.
it's basically anything that has happened in the past that I've talked about. Yeah, but I will be coming across. So if you had seen the flow of the program that I showed in the beginning, there were a lot of things that are coming next to this one.
Yes.
All right. So, anyways, so I would skip the story of strawberry ice cream and vanilla ice cream. Okay, I think most of you might have, or maybe Mulisa knows it. So maybe Mulisa can one day tell everyone in the lecture or something. Okay. Yeah. Okay, no worries. And yeah.
Maximum what age for applying for Australia company? First question, and my second question, any candidate to join Australia company, and after that he can take his family from Australia.
To Australia, you mean? After getting a job, can he take his family to Australia? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. Yes.
And what was your first
maximum
question?
age for applying for company, Australia company?
Okay. Yeah, again, being said that it depends on. See, over here in Australia, how the job structure is basically when you apply for a job, the company is only linked with you. Okay, it has nothing to do with your family. So how you bring your family, it's up to you. So when you get a work visa, of course, you can put your family into that visa status and then tag along all your family when you go there or when you move there. And if the company really likes you and if they're happy with your performance, then eventually they can actually help you sponsor to get the permanent residency and also sponsor your family. So that's this happened with my brother-in-law actually. He was here to do his masters and then he worked for a company as a vacation student, and eventually he started doing a full-time role, and then the company said, okay, you just want to stick to it. He said, I have no visa. So they said, okay, we'll sponsor your visa. So because they wanted to keep him. They just did a sponsorship for him. They did sponsorship for him, for his wife, which is my sister, of course, and then yeah, so they all got the visa and they all became the residents. So it depends on what company you apply for, what are the aspirations. Are they giving you only a contract basis job? Are they giving you a permanent job? So it all depends on different levels of scenario and how you apply.
And so
Does that answer your
what
question?
is for applying for Australia? Maximum age for applying for Australia company.
No age for applying for Australia, but it will affect your points basically. So one of the criteria is, as I said, like between the age of I think 27 to 32, you get the highest points. So if you are below 27, they consider, because you have less experience, they give you less points. But if you are over 32, they sometimes think, oh, it's too late for him to come and like integrate into the Australian job industry, and that's why your point gets reduced as well. So if you apply from 27 to 32, it's the right time to apply for Australian. I mean, not that below 27 is not the right time. You might get points for other stuff, like you might be having some other sort of work experience, or you might be pursuing some other kind of degree or anything, and you can still go there. But that's one of the criteria that I had to apply for, and I'm talking about it.
So what kind of health problems you face or worker face there in mines working?
Nothing, I think. Like, see, of course, when you do physical work, and if you don't, so that's why the company provides you with gym, they provide you with, all those physiotherapies and all those mental, what do you call this, the psychological or psychiatrist appointments, all this free of course on the cost of the company, so that you are mentally and physically, fit and fine to come back to work. And in ever during the course of your time, if you are not feeling good and well enough, you're of course allowed to take as many sick leaves as you want. And so over here in Australia, as I said, safety is the number one criteria, and also your health as well. So if you're not healthy, like, you can take as much as time you want, and you can stay away from the job if you like.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, you said that there was recession and many people lost their jobs. So what are the chances that if recession occurs again, and that you will get knocked off the job? Is it
okay? I will come to that question about the recession and what. Yeah, what we have to do. So I'll just get into the flow of this presentation, okay? So just to make this a bit more clear for everyone. So if you have any questions regarding migrating to Australia and jobs and this, we can talk about this later on towards the end of the presentation. And as I go through my presentation, you might start to find the answers on your own itself as I present to you. So instead of repeating it twice, it's better for me to do the presentation. And then if you find like very odd question coming up, of course you can stand up and ask me, or I won't be able to see you stand up, but yeah, of course you can raise your hand or just raise your voice and tell me, okay? All happy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
You continue, sir.
Okay, no worries. Thank you, guys. All right, so yeah, so as I said, there are no stupid questions as well as there are no stupid answers. So you can ask me anytime at the end of the presentation, and any question, I'm happy to answer you. Also, I will provide you some sort of an information and some links so where you can go and answer all your questions, And as I said, like, speak your heart out. Don't feel shy or ashamed, because if you feel shy, you might never know that answer could have been answered by me or anyone in the panel as well, So don't feel shy of your teacher or your supervisor, or like, koi kya bolega main inse kaise baat karo. If you're uncomfortable asking questions in English, you can ask me in Hindi. You can communicate in whichever way is comfortable to you. Like, I even understand Marathi, थोड़ी बहुत भोजपुरी से आती है नहीं है. But whoever is from Telugu नहीं आती है, but जो भी लैंग्वेज में आप लोगों को मुझसे सवाल पूछना, आप बिंदास पूछो, ऐसे शर्माओ मत. और कोई क्वेश्चन छोटा बड़ा नहीं होता, मतलब बिल्कुल एकदम आराम से जो भी मन में सवाल है पूछ सकते हैं मुझे, ओके?
एक क्वेश्चन है और भी, सर. इस कंपनी में हेलो.
हाँ, बोलिए.
जैसे ये पर ईयर में सर छुट्टी कितना मिलता है सर, लीव?
हाँ,
ईयरली लीव कैसे मिलता है वहाँ का?
यहाँ पे ईयरली लीव 24 ईयरली लीव. अभी ये सब चीज़ मैं अगर आपको बोलूँगा तो मतलब आपको समझ में नहीं. जब मैं 24 ईयरली लीव बोलूँगा, अभी देखो, जैसे मैंने तुमको बताया कि मेरा जो रोस्टर है वो 8 दिन काम है, 6 दिन छुट्टी है. तो जब भी मैं, और हमको साल में 24 दिन छुट्टी मिलती है, मतलब हर महीने के लिए 2 दिन छुट्टी मिलती है, एक्चुअली 2 ढाई दिन मिलती है। अभी मैं 8 दिन छुट्टी अप्लाई करूँगा तो मुझे टोटल छुट्टी मिलती है 21 दिन की। अभी आप पूछोगे कैसे, क्योंकि 6 दिन पहले जो मैं आता हूँ काम करके वो मुझे छुट्टी रहती है, फिर जो 8 दिन मेरे काम के रहती है सिर्फ वही 8 दिन मुझे छुट्टी अप्लाई करनी पड़ती है, तो वो 8 दिन मिलते हैं, और उसके बाद के जो वापस जो 6 दिन रहते हैं वो मुझे छुट्टी मिलती है। तो जब मैं एक्चुअली 8 दिन छुट्टी अप्लाई करता हूँ तो मुझे 21 दिन छुट्टी मिलती है। तो अगर ऐसे में आपको कहने जाओ तो आपको बिल्कुल गलत अंडरस्टैंडिंग हो, इन्होंने तो 24 दिन छुट्टी बोला था पर एक्चुअली उनको 21 दिन मिलती है। तो अगर मैंने 24 दिन के लिए अप्लाई किया छुट्टी तो मेरे 3 स्विंग्स मुझे छुट्टी मिलते हैं, मतलब मुझे टोटली 1.5 महीना छुट्टी मिल सकती है। सो इट डिपेंड्स आप किस टाइप की जॉब कर रहे हो, आपका रोस्टर क्या है, आपको कैसे क्या है, और आपको कंपनी डिफरेंट कंपनीज क्या क्या ऑफर करती है। तो ये सब जो क्वेश्चन है, यू नो, इट्स बेसिकली बेस्ड ऑन कंपनी टू कंपनी, सो देयर इज नो पॉइंट इन डिस्कसिंग दिस काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन दैट कैन कम अप व्हेन यू एक्चुअली, you know, discuss yourself with the company itself, and they can give you a more prominent answer to it. All good?
Sir, yes, go ahead.
Okay, no worries. No worries.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so yeah, just, you know, I've just put on the comment. I think you can see my, yeah, so you can see on my presentation that I was recommended you to watch this Wolf of Wall Street and The Pursuit of Happiness. Just give a watch to these movies and see how people, you know, like present themselves and what happens, you know. Sometimes you don't have a penny in your pocket and then you can still progress your way through your life, you know. These are very popular movies as well, and you can take a lot from it. Of course, don't see the bad things about it, but there are so many good things that you can learn from these movies, and, you know, like they are some of the inspirational movies that I have just pointed out. Anyway, so yeah, I think I don't need to answer these questions anymore because I think I have answered as we were going through. So I oversee, of course, better opportunities, learning advancement, of course you get more money, and global outreach and varied amount of experience. So India mein kaam karoge to, you know, in India you directly jump, when you get a degree you directly jump into assistant manager role, and then you get to that manager role. So in Australia there's nothing like that, like there's nothing like assistant manager. When you do engineering, you go into engineering and you do your, you know, engineering side of things. You have different kinds of positions, as I discussed. You have drill and blast, you have production engineering, you have planning, and all this. So you do like hardcore mining engineering jobs. You do the management part very, very later on, and it's segregated in a very, very different way, basically. So to become a manager, it's not like you just finish your degree and then you go into an assistant manager or a manager position, or, you know, just apply for a ticket. No. And over here there is a quarry manager position, but that's not an official company position. It's just a title given to you that by the Department of Mines here, basically, but it doesn't entitle you anything, you know, basically towards the company. There you go. So next one. So what is the biggest factor behind finding a job or a career? Okay, can anyone tell me what is the biggest factor behind finding a job? जब आप लोग जॉब खोजते हैं, आप लोग के दिमाग में क्या रहता है, क्या करना है?
For experience.
क्यों एक्सपीरियंस नहीं मिला तो क्या होगा?
Sir, because every company nowadays asking experience. They need experience.
For livelihood.
इसको अच्छा, ओके, ठीक है, एक्सपीरियंस.
Well, we find job, we can
job security.
Well, we are able to find. That's why usually we try to get good job for making a career good.
Yeah, that is fine, but what is the factor behind finding a job? मतलब मुझे जॉब चाहिए, क्यों चाहिए जॉब?
Money.
पैसे का money, sir. Salary.
Correct.
For good livelihood.
Correct. सही बात है, बिल्कुल. So that is the number one motivation, correct? See, most of the answers are here. So good motivation. So the number one factor is sometimes someone needs to motivate you as well, you know. Why do you want a job? Yes. You know, the motivation behind finding a good job is either money, बहुत इज्जत कमाना है, yeah, someone is just very passionate about finding a job. Yes, I want to do, you know, like engineering. That's my passion in my life. ठीक है, पैसा मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा बाद में मिलेगा कम मिलेगा, पर मुझे, you know, I want to explore the possibilities of engineering. किसी के लिए सिर्फ, you know, livelihood भाई, not everyone is well off in their life, you know. Some people have come through very, very hard times. Some people's parents have spent their fortune behind the students, you know, education. So for them, it's very necessary for them to find a job and, you know, get the livelihood. So sometimes they don't even think about a career. They will think, भाई पहले जॉब आ जाए, पहले घर की हालत ठीक कर लूँ, फिर अपना करियर बनाऊंगा. So there are different motivations for everyone. There are different factors behind finding a job in a career. So it could be anything, and even being an entrepreneur. So you want to be an entrepreneur, like ठीक है, मैं इसके पास जाऊंगा, इसके नीचे मैं काम करूंगा, ये मुझे कुछ बताएगा, उसके बाद मुझे पता चलेगा और फिर मैं अपनी अपनी खुद की बिजनेस चालू करूंगा या कंसल्टेंसी चालू करूंगा. So sometimes people also find a job for these reasons as well. So there could be, these are the good motivators, which is money, fame, passion. So bad motivations. So sometimes भाई good job leads to good spouse. भाई अच्छी नौकरी मिलेगी तो अच्छी बीवी मिलेगी, अच्छे पैसे मिलेंगे. Like unfortunately, by saying this, like I have had this past experience when I was studying with some of my colleagues, and most of them were like studying the engineering for like 5 and 6 years, and the only reason they were stuck there is because they could have some good money from after they get married. So even these are all the bad motivators. So never have a bad intention when you want to have a job or when you want to have a career. See, this is not more of a career guidance. This is more of a moral guidance to you guys. But I just thought I should put this up so that everyone gets their head straight. And secondly, some other people are also like, I want to destroy a company. यार एक government job मिल जाए, बस बैठूं वहाँ पे corruption करूं, उसके बाद देखेंगे क्या होगा, क्या करना है, उसके बाद यहाँ पे चिपके रहना है. किसी का ये भी motivation होता है. I don't say like, but this is a bad motivation. This is a bad approach towards having your. And when you are having a negative approach towards something, वो तुमको life में सिर्फ एक limit तक ही लेके जाएगा. उसके बाद you will get stuck. इसके बाद you will be in trouble. So there's a saying, we call it fake it till you make it. So fake करो जब तक हम लोग make करते हैं, मतलब fake it till you make it. So बस ठोकते रहो. ऐसे नहीं, वो जो ठोकना है या जो फेंकम फाकी मारना है वो हम लोग एक लिमिट तक ही लेके जाएंगे. दुनिया में जो सारी चीज़ें चलती है, जो डेवलपमेंट्स होती है, वो ऐसे नहीं किसी के फेंकने पे नहीं हुई या किसी के झूठ पे बुनियाद पे नहीं हुई. तो जिंदगी में कभी कुछ करना है, like if you want to do anything, just be sincere. Even if you like you don't have to be an expert of all the subjects. Just pick up one subject and like, okay, this is what I want to do in my life. I need to get my head straight. I want to have a passion in this field, and I want to do this straight away. That's it. So you need a simple kind of motivation for you to get the job right and get your things going on. So always have good motivations in your life, and definitely it will take you a long way. If you have bad motivations, I'm sure, because I don't have any example in front of me. I haven't been in touch with any bad motivators in my life precisely to give you examples of them or what they are doing right now in their careers. But certainly keep your head good, and then hopefully everything will fall good in line for you. Okay, so how to get in? First find a job, then make your career. So can anyone tell me what was the first slide that I started? What was the title at the bottom?
You need a career,
Sir,
not a
you
job.
said look for a career, not job.
Correct. But over here, what I'm saying?
Find a job, then make your career.
So is it conflicting? Or is it same? It just explained in a different way.
Sir, it's same. Just you need to, sir, little bit. You have to start to do something.
Correct. Yeah. That's right. So you can't make a career without a job as well, unless you are an entrepreneur and you make your own company and you do something and get into somewhere and make a big. But otherwise, yeah, of course, first आपको job चाहिए तभी आप career बनाओगे. So some jobs, like, I'm really sorry, just having this. So some jobs, as I said, like when I migrated to Australia, I was working in customer service. I was doing a call center job. I was working in car rental companies. So this was just a job for me. I never ever wanted to make a career in these. I never wanted to be a manager of this car rental company or be a manager of some airline company. No, I always wanted to get into mining. But since I never had a job, I just had a job. Just found somewhere to survive, keep my family afloat. So just make money. So my only motivation for those jobs was to get more money. So whoever gives me more money, I just jumped with them because there was no career motivation for me. But then once you find a job, like why did I start in grad position back in Australia? So you can imagine, like when I finished my career, I did a grad program, and after 10 or 12 years again, I started as a grad. So why? Because at the end of the day, I want to make a career, and right now, in just 2 years, I'm doing what I love to do. I'm doing mining engineering. So that's it. Sometimes you have to have that right click for you to get in. Okay, and always remember that all companies are there to make money, so they will always want to hire the cream of the crop. So always present yourself in the best way. So number one, so internet is your best tool. Okay, so use it wisely. So हम लोग को पता है भाई आजकल इंटरनेट में सबसे ज़्यादा हम लोग किस पे टाइम बिताते हैं? फेसबुक, व्हाट्सएप, टिकटॉक, बराबर? इंटरनेट को आज तक सही टूल समझ के किसने यूज़ किया है? I'm not saying that when I'm saying all this to you, I'm one of the guys who's like making 100% benefit of internet. No, I'm not saying that I'm in that side of things. But anyway, since you're at the peak of your about to finish your graduate program, graduate studies, and then about to find a job. So definitely, who's using internet as the best tool now? Tell me. I'm pretty much sure most of the times, if you nowadays Android gives you an option to find out how you spent your time, on your phone. It tells you how many times you locked and unlocked your phone and how much time you spent on a particular application. And if you see, you'll find certain apps that you have been continuously using and motivating. So that is one of the reasons that is motivating and keeping you diverted from what you actually want to achieve. So number one thing, use internet as your best tool. Use it for your benefit. There are so many things free, so many things free in this world. As videos, and even as simple as learning a language. Just go and open a language video and start learning a language, that interests you, and not necessarily learn a good thing, learn a hobby, and it might end you up in a good spot. You never know that. And sometimes you might discover something. Oh, I used to hate this thing, but now I like it. So use internet as your best tool. Brace yourself for an EVA or standout. So what I mean by EVA or standout is, when you're applying for a job, when I did this survey, there was a reason behind taking all the answers from you. So when I did the survey, so of the people who answered, they said they are average students. I think 10% were like toppers, and then other people just like answered something funny. But anyways, by saying that, 74% are average students. So basically, when you're doing a work, when you're applying for jobs, who are you fighting against? You're actually fighting against the average crowd itself, mostly. Because all the toppers might already be having a job, they already have put themselves at the right place, or they know what they're doing, or because they are so clever, they could easily find a job. So when you're actually applying for a job, who you're applying against one another, You're even applying against yourself, because you never know where you might end up. So always remember, you are always fighting against the same amount of crowd that you're fighting. A topper will always, an average guy will always compete with an average. So the lower you go towards the chart, the more the fight, the bigger the fight it is. So you can imagine if 74% are average students, we are all fighting against one another. So always remember to stand out, to be something different than others, that people will, take notice of you and want you to be a part of their company. So always stand out.
Sorry, sir, for interruption.
Yeah.
Sir, what kind of thing can make our personality different as far as mining job is concerned? If we are giving interview and we have around 10 to 12 people around us, so what quality make us different?
Number one quality that I would say is to be extremely confident when you're giving an interview. Number one, when you talk to someone, just talk in a way that you are very honest. I want to make up an answer so that he is getting impressed. No, just speak of your heart out in a good way. Present yourself in a good way. And that will always, and you guys won't believe, I'm not boasting about myself. In the last, I think 10, 12 years, I have given like 7 interviews in my life in total, like all the companies, small and big. I only failed 1 interview ever. That's it. All the interviews I have passed. So, the only thing that I have found about myself is when you want to speak with someone, just speak very naturally, very confidently, and just tell them that why you're the best, or why hire yourself is the best decision for them. And that's it. And always be subtle in your explanation. Don't be very enthusiastic. Oh, I want this job, or yeah, मैं ये करता हूँ, मुझे ये आता है. Like, should be very subtle in your approach. You know, you should have a very charming personality. I mean, of course, if you don't have one, you can make one, you know. As I said, internet is your best tool. Go and see videos, what can motivate you, what can keep you nice, you know. Invest in yourself, buy a good dress, you know, keep your money aside to just buy one proper shirt, proper tie, and proper pant, and proper belt, and, you know, like, invest and keep that suit aside for you, just for your interview. So, you know, invest in such things, and definitely see you'll stand out among the rest for sure. And yeah, as I said, again, another thing is focus. So stay away from distraction. You know, there will be many things that will keep on, you know, nagging you when you apply for a job. Sometimes, you know, भाई चलो यार गर्लफ्रेंड का फोन आया, अभी थोड़ा उससे बात करते हैं, फिर जाएंगे भाई जॉब अप्लाई करेंगे, क्या करना है, पहले उसको प्रायोरिटी देते हैं भाई, पहले जॉब मिलेगा फिर उसके साथ ज़िंदगी आराम से बिताओगे ना, जॉब ही नहीं मिलेगा तो क्या करोगे, फ़ोन पे ही बातें करते रहोगे। तो ऐसे मतलब ऐसे बोलने की बात नहीं कि हमने ये सब नहीं किया, हमने कुछ किया है, but it is one of the biggest distractions, you know. I don't say that girlfriends are distractions, but in general speaking, you know. So it's not the only one thing, you know. Some people even focus themselves in looking at explicit stuff on their phone all the time, and they are so much addicted to it that they just can't, you know, get this. And such things also keep your, you know, the function of your brain so less and so slow that you can't think past something. You have too many different expectations when you see something on the internet, and you think, oh, this is the only best thing. Whereas it is not. Everything has been polished and, you know, brought before you. So when you see something on the internet, or where you see something on YouTube or whatever, it is in a polished way. It is not the real way. You're not seeing the real product. So when you see those, you know, apples in the market, they are very polished and shiny. But when you peel the skin and when you eat it, that's what the real taste is. It's not the shiny thing that is going into your mouth, correct? So that's why always stay focused and stay away from any sort of distraction that you might have in your life. And then, of course, one of the things is like one of the ladders, I would say, for you to have good career as well. तो क्या अभी इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि सभी लोग जाके अभी गर्लफ्रेंड को फोन करो क्या?
Sir, may I ask a question?
बिल्कुल.
Does the exam like IELTS and TOEFL gives a boost in your portfolio?
It is not a boost in the portfolio. It is a requirement for you to apply for overseas.
Pass the IELTS exam or TOEFL?
Yeah. It's one of the requirements for you to apply for migration.
Sir, have you given the IELTS exam?
Yes, I have. Yep.
What's your experience? Because they have writing, listening, and writing both.
Yeah, writing, listening, speaking, and sorry.
Reading.
Score a good band.
Yeah, reading. Yeah, correct. Yeah, reading. Yeah. So back then, I think our minimum score requirement was, I think, 6. So 6 will still give you 0 points, but it will still make you eligible for your application. So you will still take that criteria that, okay, you got 6 marks, you are still applicable, but your points will be 0. But if you get 7, then I think you get 5 or 10, and then of course you are still eligible, and so on.
Which exam?
So
was IELTS or TOEFL?
Yeah. Sorry, IELTS. I did IELTS.
It's better than TOEFL, I guess.
I think most of the people, like, they have different opinions. Like, everyone has their own opinion about it. Some say IELTS is good, some say TOEFL is good. So it depends. I think in Australia, when you apply, most people do IELTS. If you apply for US, they do TOEFL, or even for UK, they do TOEFL. Yeah. So yeah, as I said, and you spoke rightly at the right time, that language is a tool. So we take language very lightly, but a good communicator will always be a step ahead of someone who is, you know, good in academics. So having both these skill set is a cherry on top of a cake. So always remember, if you're good in academics, try to brush up your language, and it will take you way ahead. And use other tools available that work in your field. So does anyone know who might have applied for job? I think some of the participants in here are also the pass out students who might already be working. Are there any of them? Okay, so I don't hear, so it means no. So most of the participants must be freshers. But anyways, so see, CV Savior is one of the websites. I will talk to you about this a bit later, but I will talk to you about the ATA system. So has anyone known what an ATA system is? Okay. So, oh, sorry. I think there was an answer coming through.
No, we didn't hear about it.
Okay, ATS. Okay, so what is ATS? I'm not very sure if it's used in India or maybe it must be used under different name. But ATS, what it does is basically, say for example, there is a job opening, okay, and thousands of applications are being put through. Like there are 1,000 engineers who apply for the same job. So, do you really think that the HR has that much time to go through each and every application and see who's the best? No. Okay, so that's why there is a computer-generated system that is called as an ATS system. I don't know the form of it. Maybe you can Google it or something. And if there are other systems, but ATS is one of the prominent software that's used here in Australia. So what they do, so whenever they advertise a job on the website, there are many keywords in the job. Okay, so I need designing experience, I need minimum 5 years experience, I need this experience, I need that experience, blah, 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 blah. And then what happens, once you apply your job through the system, the ATS system itself will, trash your CV. If it will read your CV automatically in like some I think 0.8 milliseconds, I think it reads your CV, and then it decides whether you are a good candidate or not. And then your CV itself will not get passed through that system, and it will never reach to the HR itself in the first place. So some of the people might be applying CV and they're like, "Hey, yaar, koi jawab hi nahi aa raha hai, kuch jawab hi nahi aa raha hai," because your CV was never in the hands of the HR in the first place itself. So it got deleted from the ATS system itself before it could even go through the HR or even to the manager or whoever. So always remember, so when you're these days, the technology is so high and so good that everything can be computerized. So basically, even when you are applying for a job, your basically CV is also getting filtered through these systems, which decide whether you're a good candidate or a bad candidate or just not applicable for this role. Sorry. So with the ATS system, what you have to do is when you make your CV, so see, हम लोग की कभी-कभी ऐसी आदत रहती है कि भाई चलो एक जॉब दिख गया, उसको अप्लाई करो, इसके लिए भी यही CV डालो, उस जॉब के लिए भी वही CV डालो. Sometimes we don't take the effort of working on our CV to make it look or make it be applicable for this particular job. Sometimes we are too lazy, or just use the same CV all the time. That's what we do. And that habit sometimes put us at a backspace. Sometimes you might actually be so much applicable for that job, but then someone else might be taking the job just because his CV was better than yours. So maybe you're the better candidate, but his CV was much better than you, and then you got the job. So also think about these things in your life. It's not only about being the best candidate, it's also about being the best CV, it's also about being the best dresser. There are so many stages before you eventually end up getting a job, So area system. So how to bypass this system is number one is precise wording. So precise wording, when you see a job requirement and see what do they need, make sure you have all those requirements in there. So number one thing. For example, if there are 10 things and if you're only good at 9 things, and if one thing is, that is not missing to you, what I would recommend you is you still put that as in your CV, and you can mark it as red, And then when you apply, the ATS system will actually forward your CV to the HR. And then once the HR has this CV in your hand, and then when you get called for an interview or whatever, then you have a chance to say that, see, I have these 9 requirements, I didn't have the 10th requirement, but I just did it because, I had to pass through the system and just at least come and talk to you. At least you get the chance of going through the HR and presenting yourself, rather than just getting kicked out of the system, So always make sure that you have a precise wording when you make your CV. Always take effort when you want to apply for a good job, when you really, really are keen to get into one. Make sure you take a lot of time, a lot of effort. Not just, okay, this is your job, I put my CV, upload it. No. So make sure you work on your CV properly. You guys won't believe me, when I came here in Australia, I never had a proper, and also different countries have the different formats of CVs as well. Like, so हम लोग को अपनी एज लिखने की आदत है, हम लोग को मेरे पेरेंट्स के नाम लिखने की आदत है, तो ये सब यहाँ पे कोई ज़रूरत नहीं. मतलब they only look for okay, what's your name, what's your qualification, and what do you do, that's it. So हर कंपनी और कोई मतलब इंडिया में कंपनी they want to know all this stuff as well. Some even company wants to know about your religion, some even want to know your phone numbers as well, and whatnot, like even your Facebook profile as well. So different companies have different requirements. So look at it, and then basically you can make your CV accordingly. So what I was saying, that when I came to here in Australia, like I never had one CV that was matching up with the Australian standard. So you guys won't believe, the first time in my life being in India, it was so hard for me to invest money in getting a good CV done. I literally paid like $300, which is like 15,000 Indian rupees, just to get my CV right. Because I tried to take help from everyone else, and everyone just gave me some sort of an idea, but not the good idea, and my CV was never the best CV. So sometimes when you think, oh, you're not spending money, you're investing money, always remember, whenever it's about your career, whenever it's about dressing up, whenever it's about doing something that you think is going to take you one step further behind, it's an investment. Never ever think that you have spent the money. Always think that you have invested the money in yours. And even if that doesn't come to your use, at least you know that you got some value out of it. At least you can help some others, you know. And honestly, I spent that money. I was really very reluctant, you know. I had that mentality, yaar, $300 खर्चा करने में इतने जान पे आ गया मुझे. But I got that CV and I started applying, and you guys won't believe, like within like 2 or 3 weeks, I started to get calls for my interview. So the first thing that I realized was the whole thing that I was doing for the last 2 years or 3 years was applying the wrong CV for all the jobs. See, sometimes it takes such a small thing to make you realize that whatever you were doing for the last so many years was absolutely wrong. How does it make you feel bad? See, if I had invested the same money at the start of my career itself, it would have given me a much more, you know, like I wouldn't have even needed to work in customer service and all this. So sometimes it's not only about you, it's also about what you do as well in your life, and what things you take, and you know, there are small things that really matter. So always focus on what you want to do. Always make sure that everything that you're doing towards applying a job is being properly, thoroughly invested into. So yeah. So when you go into your ATS system, so yeah, I did my CV from one of those professional guys. They made my CV, and then I started putting all these keywords. So CV Savior is one of the websites. If you guys can see that, actually I will tell you to write it down. So CV Savior. So CV Savior, I will tell you what it does. And you can also use that for your Indian job application or even Middle East job applications. So one of the things in that CV Savior, it gives you good tips. And the second thing is, so there is a particular page on that CV Savior. On the left hand side, it tells you the job description, and on the right hand side, you put your CV. So what do? So once you go into your career website, you copy all the job description, and on the left hand side, you paste your job description, and on the right hand side, you copy all your CV and paste it on the right hand side, and then click run. So what it does is basically when it runs, it is basically an online ATS system. It will tell you your CV, how much it is matching up with the actual job requirement, and then you'll say, oh, you know, this is missing, that is missing, and then you can actually put these words into your CV, make your CV right, and then once your CV is right, then you apply for a job. Then you find another job, okay, copy its description, put on the left hand side, copy your CV, put on the right hand side, run it, and do it again. So if you keep on doing that, of course, you will come to a point where you will start to realize that this is making a difference in your CV itself. And once your CV is the very first step towards getting a job. You know, it's like an application. Why do you do an application? So basically, CV is an application for you, and nobody has time to go through, you know, thousands of applications. It's all done by the system. So if you guys didn't know that, just keep that in mind, and you know, this will definitely take you a long way. So precise wording in your CV, and using that CV Savior website, and there might be any others. I think you know, CV analysis websites as well that might give you that kind of a briefing. But yeah, if you use that, but this is the one that I normally use as well, and it will definitely take you a long way. Any questions? And was it helpful?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Can you share your CV that you made when you were applying for the jobs?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can share you both of my CV. And I think Mulisa, the one that he shared was the one that I got it properly made up from one of the CV making companies or whatever you call them. And then I will show you my old one as well and show you how it looks. And you might find it's only a bit of a change in display of, you know, like, but it still matters a lot how you know, at the end of the day, what I said, you might be very good in everything you do, but as far as you don't represent, you know, you should sell yourself as a product. If you are not able to sell yourself as a product, doesn't matter bad or good, you know, you'll never find a job. Just when you're
Of course,
applying, yeah.
CV is always a game changer, you can say, because
Exactly. Yeah,
there are
exactly.
professions. I've seen some of the professional CV. It looks really different from what we know how to make it.
Exactly. Yeah. So really invest yourself in making a good CV, and maybe I can share my CV and you all can have a look and see what. And of course, different countries will be having their own requirements. And now, by saying that, when I applied for UA job, whatever CV I had, it worked for me. So, but of course, it was still a bit different than what I had earlier. But you never know, basically. All right. So yeah, make sure you work on CV really well. Yeah. Go ahead.
Australia have greater standards, I guess.
Yeah. So you can imagine, like, there are companies who actually make. I think now Naukri.com and all these companies also offer you to make CVs as well. But sometimes you have to be very much aware of these companies as well, because what they do is they have this. They have their own software, in which they put your keywords, and then it gives you a specific format, and tells you, this is so. If two different candidates apply for the the CV services, you might find exactly the same format of CV for two different candidates, because some of the company, they just use because they are not professional CV making company. They are just like job company which will do us, it's the side gig basically, who gives it. But if you actually go to a proper company whose whole job itself is to do CVs, then they will give you like personalized services as well.
So I will request you to please share your CV, so we'll get a proper.
Yeah, certainly I will do. All right. So coming to next one. All right. So how to apply for overseas jobs when migration is not required? So when I say when migration is not required, is speaking of Middle East, So जहाँ पे मतलब UAE में या यहाँ पे migrate होने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती. You just give a call and then the company sponsors you. You get a job and then you go there. So the number one is contact your recruiters, okay? और मतलब जब यहाँ पे मैंने दिखा, शायद आप लोग पढ़ सकते हो कि दिमाग की दही करो, बेशरम बनो, So that's a real fact, If at the end of the day, what is your purpose? Is to get a job, okay? If you don't get a job, nobody cares in this world, The recruiters, they are there to make their money. Why are recruiters? They don't actually care for you. They care for their business. When they give you a job, they are basically negotiating a candidate so that they can get their commission, basically. So you are their product, basically. And for example, they have 10 different products. So if one doesn't sell, another one is going to get sold. But at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to get affected. So that's why I always remember, when you approach a recruiter, just keep nagging. सही में मतलब दिमाग की दही करो, फोन कर करके बंदे को ऐसा परेशान करो कि वो बोलेगा भाई तुमको मैं जॉब दे दूंगा कैसे. So he will find a way for you. He will find some or the other way for you, because they know their leads, they know what they have to do. So कभी-कभी बोलते हैं ना जो जुगाड़ लगा. I don't know if most of you know that now जुगाड़ is also been officially recognized as an English word, जो कि इंडिया से आया है. So इसको अपना जन्म सिद्ध अधिकार समझ के बिल्कुल मतलब keep approaching the recruiters, keep nagging them, keep disturbing them, and then definitely they will start to think about you and about your CVs basically. So that's the number one tip, okay? If you can't find a lead, make your own, okay? Number two, another way is to apply directly on the website and call the company straight away. So you can apply, you can go onto these different mining. So on the Google, you just go and type. So there's a website called Byte, BAYT. So B for Bravo, A for Alpha, Y for Yankee, T for Tango. BAYT.com. So when you go and apply on this website, you will see all these Middle East companies. So Byte is a platform where all the Middle East companies have signed up. So you can basically find any Middle East in UAE, in Bahrain, Qatar, or anywhere. All these companies you can basically find in Byte.com. So you can go on these companies and you can see. So don't apply through Byte. So what I do normally, when I go onto these job finding websites, I go first find a job in the website, and then I go directly onto the company's website and then apply from their job opportunities. So what it does do is, instead of filtering yourself twice, you're limiting your filtration to only once. So when you apply from Byte.com, so what does Byte do? Byte will take your CV, it will segregate it first, and then it will go to the main company, and then they will segregate, and then they will send it to the HR. But when you apply directly to the company, there's only one system that you're bypassing, and then directly going to the HR. So whenever you apply, try and apply. Don't apply through Naukri.com, or you can find jobs on Naukri.com and then see, okay, this company has this role, then go onto the company's website and then apply directly. And once you apply and see what is the closing date, once the closing date is passed on, wait for 2-3 days and then give the company a call. Say, see, I applied for this so-and-so job. I haven't heard anything back. Is there anything going on, or is there something that you can look after me? Or and then they can give their opinion. And when you actually approach companies like that, they actually know that you're interested in the company, And sometimes you can just make friendship with them, like just talk with the HR, just keep talking them after month after month, and then sometimes like, oh yeah, don't worry, man, I have you on the list, and then they start to know you personally, and then when some opportunity comes up, they will just give you a call straight away, and then just get you in. But also make sure you don't fall for any recruitment agency scam, because there are so many scams going on around, So some people are so enthusiastic to get a job, to get overseas, get a foreign job or anything, and someone tries to scam them basically, and they fall victimized, and they end up paying money, they end up losing their careers and whatnot. So always make sure whenever you have an approach, have a very subtle approach. Don't be very very impulsive, or I want to do this, मुझे करना है कैसे भी, और फिर किसी के ऊपर भी भरोसा करना और किसी भी बहकावे में आके पढ़ना नहीं कभी. So always make sure that you have your numbers right before you apply for a job, okay? Second thing, sorry, go ahead. All right, just one more thing before I carry on from here. I'm sure I think I'm taking a lot of time here, but are you guys okay, or I'm going too slow and is it getting more boring? Just let me know, okay? So I can speed up and.
We are okay, sir.
Okay. बोले सर ठीक है सब?
हाँ, yes, please proceed.
Okay. And so second thing that I have found is be aware of correct visa entitlement before you fly. So one thing you always have to make sure that correct visa entitlement, क्योंकि कभी-कभी ये स्पेशली होता है मिडिल ईस्ट कंपनी में, और ये स्पेशली होता है एजेंसी के पास. तो एजेंसी क्या कहते हैं, ओके चलो यार हम तुमको जॉब दे देंगे, ओके यू. सो फॉर एग्जांपल यू हैव डन अ माइनिंग इंजीनियरिंग जॉब, ओके. सो क्या होता है, सो अभी मान लो जिस कंपनी में आप जाने वाले हो, ओके, तो कभी कभी कैसे होता है कि कंपनीज को भी उनके गवर्नमेंट को रिपोर्ट करना पड़ता है कि भाई हम लोग इस आदमी को लेके आ रहे हैं इस जॉब के लिए, ओके. सो फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू आर गोइंग टू गो ऑन एन इंजीनियर्स रोल, the company has to pay more money to the government to give you that entitlement, If you are going on a labor job, the company has to, so हर इंसान के, क्योंकि ऐसे कंट्रीज में जहाँ पे माइग्रेशन ये सब नहीं है, वहाँ पे the companies have to pay a certain amount of fees to the government to basically give you that entitlement of the job. So कभी-कभी कंपनी क्या करती है भाई, कंजूस में मतलब 1000 या 2000 दिरहम भी बचाने के लिए आपको दूसरी वीजा एंटाइटलमेंट देगी. हेलो, sorry, someone speaking or?
Khadi sir, your mic is on.
Proceed, Nazim. Yeah, I'm muted him.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, always be sure that that you have correct entitlement before you fly. So when they say you are getting a mining engineer job, make sure that your visa also says mining. Or sometimes they'll say, you don't worry, you'll be doing a mining engineer job, but we'll just fly you as a labor job. And then when you come here, you just do your engineering stuff. So do not agree to such, regardless of how much money they have agreed to pay you, because if a company does not give you correct entitlement, it means it is a dodgy company, no matter what they say you, okay? But even if it's right, don't go for it. Don't fall victimized for it. So when you apply for a job, if you apply for a geologist, make sure that your visa says geologist. Or if it's geologist and it still says mining engineer, that's still fine, like something in the same category. But if it is something else, then don't fall victimized for it, okay? So always fly with the right visa entitlement. When you go for the interview, of course, as I said, and address myself many times, that presentation is number one thing. Always present yourself correctly. Always invest in yourself, And always invest in an interview dress. Just buy a nice and neat dress. Make sure your fitting is nice. It's not loose and bulky. You just find a cheap shirt and just buy and okay, it looks alright. No, get it checked with your wife or your girlfriend, and she will give you a right comment on that. Yes, always invest in a good interview dress, and just take it from there, and then for sure you will be a bright candidate. Biggest mistake is lying in an interview and being over enthusiastic. So never ever lie in an interview. If you don't know your answers, just be honest. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for this answer. I can come back to you later on. But don't lie or make up any answers. And because I know when I was have been interviewed before, and I heard some funny answers that the brightest of the students have given while being interviewed. Was if someone would hear that, they would think like, this is a big no, like. And so rubbish talk should always avoid doing it while you're giving your interview. Just say no when you don't know nothing, and be very honest with it. Be honest and confident. So it is easy to say then done. So practice. Because see, not all the candidates or participants are very confident. Some people don't have the stage daring even to speak in front of other people. So these things, sometimes some might be God gifted, sometimes it comes naturally to everyone, but some of the people might need to develop it. And it's not something that can never be achieved. If you practice it, if you keep doing it, definitely it will come back to you. Just keep on doing mock interviews. And the best way is also to apply for some random job interviews which you don't even care for. Like apply for some call center jobs, make a fake CV. Just go for an interview and sit for it, because you don't care for it, what they say, or even if they give you a job or not. And just do, and take that as a chance for having that as a mock interview for you. And once you sit there and start to get more confident, and when it comes to your real interview, you'll be very confident by then. So you'll know how to speak with people, how to be confident and be approachable with everyone. So always find these opportunities and make some fake CVs, apply for some call center jobs, go for an interview, and just present yourself and see how you present. And when they give you a job, just tell them, oh, sorry, I'm not interested, I got another one. So you can do that. That's one of the tricks. And another thing is work for a company that values you. Don't just run for money and be a work ass. I mean, see, saying this is, I would do that only when you have a bit of an experience in your life. But yeah, of course, certainly when you're new in your career, and of course I wouldn't say to the fresh graduates, do not run for money or don't be a work ass. I mean, yes, it is fair enough for you when you're starting your job. Any job is good job, I would say. Okay, so don't think like, oh, this is, even if there are bad companies, but it will still add up, to your experience and everything. So think about it. Sorry, just give me a second, guys.
So what amount of money we have to pay when we apply for a student visa or for a job visa?
No, there should be no money involved at all. Sorry, for job visa, like in Middle East, if someone asks you, I don't know, like if some companies, they do charge you sometimes or something, but most of the good companies, like the recruitment companies, they take money from the company itself. They don't take money from the candidate. So say, for example, if there's one company in Middle East and they want to give you a job through a recruitment agency. So the recruitment agency will say, okay, I will take say 5,000 dirhams for your candidate, and this is the salary I will be negotiating with him. So that's what happened basically. So you normally never have to pay the money to any agencies, unless you apply for a specific work visa. Then of course, then you apply for your own work visa, and then you come here and then you find a job. But otherwise, speaking of Middle East, where the migration is not required, of course, you will never ever have to pay money. If someone asks for money, most probably, I think 80-90% of the time it is a scam. So always be aware. Okay, so use other tools available that work in your favor. Like as I said, CV Savior, ATS system, precise working that we discussed before. And ask for a feedback from HR if you failed your interview. So this is also another thing, like if you fail your interview, just send an email that thanks for the opportunity for this interview. May I know what happened and what I could do to improve myself much better and be more approachable, Asking such kind of question also gives HR a good hint that you're a very good candidate and you're really interested. And sometimes when you don't get a job, not necessarily because you're a bad candidate, because you might be overqualified. They don't want someone and then undermine you and don't pay you that much money for your qualification. So sometimes they'll take someone who is underqualified or even just rightly qualified, basically. So when you don't get selected, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad candidate. You're just not a right candidate, basically. Okay, so never lose hope and just call HR and ask for them for feedback. Right, so how to apply for overseas jobs where migration or work visa or self-sponsored is a must. So specific to Australia and Canada. I won't be speaking much about Canada, but what I have read is pretty much similar to Canada, like Australian migration system and Canada migration system. I think it's pretty much the same. So at the end of the webinar, I will send you some web links so you can go on and see after the end of this session, after the end of the webinar, if you have any questions, first try and find your answers on your own on the website, because there's so much information available. So you might be asking me some question, or you gave me this information, but it doesn't exist anymore, because what I'm talking of, when I applied for migration, it was in 2012. So you can imagine it's been already 9 years and so many rules have changed and everything is happening. And I might be giving you some information that doesn't necessarily stay the same as it is now. So always make sure before asking me any questions, try and find your own answers. And then when you think, oh, this is like really out of my reach, then you can come back to me and then I can find something for you and let you know what's to go, okay? So at the end of the day, definitely I will send you some good links where you can find all the questions to your answers, and then you can proceed from there. So try to be dependent, So point system, as I told you, there's point system required. So back in my time, it was 60 points. I think now it's jumped up to 80 points. I could be wrong, but again, as I said, I'll send you the links and you can go and test yourself and see if you're eligible or not. Read the criteria and apply as soon as you make up your mind. Okay, so rules keep changing every year and get tougher day by day. So जैसे कि मैंने भी एक गलती की थी, मतलब when I was told, okay, you should apply for Australia, you should do it right away, and I was like, nah, I will do it at some point of time, and I kept on overthinking about it and I never started for it. But the whole procedure itself takes 2 years. So I applied for I had to do the English test, then I had to get my degree assessed from Engineers Australia. Once they assess you, then you have to apply for interest in migrating to Australia. Then once your application gets assessed, then they send you an invitation letter, then you have to apply on the invitation, and then it gets accepted. And after it gets accepted, you get I think 12 months of time from the date of your first application to come and make your first entry into the country. So not necessarily you have to stay, so you can just come, make your entry and go back to your country. So you can just go for a holiday or something like that. So rules keep on changing. So when you have make up your mind, just start to prepare right now. Don't think, यार मुझे तो 3 साल बाद जाना है, तभी मैं जाके देखूंगा. ऐसे मत करो. Get your things sorted out. Get everything in line. Get everything organized. Start preparing from now. And then once you get to a point where you're, when you want to fly, you already have everything in your hand. So last moment पे फिर हम लोग decide करते हैं, यार अभी job चली गई, अभी मैं apply करूँगा, पर अब मेरे पास पैसे नहीं. So you shouldn't be in that situation when you decide only when you are in trouble. Don't do that with yourself. So if you want to help yourself, just start whatever you want to do in your future. Start doing it from now. Don't procrastinate. And that is one of the things that I'm also going to talk about, the procrastination thing, when it comes to the survey part of the webinar. And so as I said, don't start preparing when you make up your mind. Start preparing from now. It will take you at least 2 to 5 years just to get your visa sorted. Ask a question. So one more thing, migration is not everyone's cup of tea. It's a very hard fact, okay? So there are so many people here who have migrated, who are engineers, but they are, they're sweeping the roads, they're doing supermarket jobs. Some of them are even driving a taxi for a living. When I came here, I did not necessarily came just for my career. I also came for the future of my kids, my family, So maybe in that process, I might have sacrificed my job and my career. But then I thought, okay, eventually when my kids grow up, maybe they might have a good and bright future. So sometimes you might have that kind of mindset, and you're like ready to do anything. And like if you have that kind of mindset, and I came with that mindset that if I come to Australia, I will be taking up any job till I get my own mining job, and I will do whatever it takes. Myself. So that's what I did, and that's for 3.5 years. I was, as you all by now must be knowing, that I was out of the mining job, and I did whatever it took me. Survive my family and get a right job now. So every migration is not difficult. It's something you leave behind. You leave your country, you leave your family. So it's not only about migrating and going to a country and doing your job. There are so many factors that you realize after going to a specific country. So always, cons and what are the benefits. It's not always good because as it's a very common phrase that the grass on the other side always looks greener. So if you see it green from your end, does not mean necessarily that it is greener. So always assess your pros and cons and see what you have to do in your life. Are you really prepared? Are you really happy to sacrifice? Like staying away from the country for such a long time. Like I really had a lot of affection for India. मेरा गाँव है, मेरे घर है अभी भी, मैं वहाँ आना जाना चाहता हूँ. But it's not that much easy for me. Like because now, especially because of the COVID, of course. But when I was here, I could still go like every year. I was trying to go to India and all that kind of stuff. But now in a situation like this, you never know. You can end up in any sort of situation. But that's why you should assess everything, like every pros and cons, that you might come into such a situation and then you think, oh, this is a bad. So think of the worst situation that you could ever come across, and then think that, are you still ready to do this? And then you decide. And again, don't fall for scams, as I said. So when you apply for Australian migration or visa, there are registered agents. There is called as MARA, M-A-R-A. I think they are called as Migration Registered Agent, something like Migration for Australian Registered Agent, something like that. I don't remember. So they are specific for Australia only. And only when you apply through some agencies, only make sure that they have MARA registered and they have a MARA number. And some of the company might give you a fake MARA number. So make sure you put that. So they give you a number. You have to go onto the MARA website and then put that number in there, and then it will tell you whether this company is genuine or fake company. So someone just types and says, "This is MARA number so and so," and you think, "Oh, this is a genuine company." No, don't think that. So always take that number, put into the MARA website, and reconfirm that. So always double check what you're doing in your process of application. Okay. So through them, if you're not confident to apply on your own, and you can also apply on your own if you like to, but if you think that the process is too tedious for you, too tiring, too much reading, you can just use these agencies. I mean, they will of course charge you more money for doing your job, but then again, that's the case. I used one of the agent services, but eventually it was helpful for me. And another thing, as I told, like it takes pure dedication and a big decision to migrate. So whenever you think about it, just make sure, as I told already, think about pros and cons. Okay. All right. So any questions, Faisal?
Nazim, I think questions have been covered. Let's proceed with the survey results.
Okay, no worries. So just a quick one before I end up my talk. Sorry, it took a while. So survey results. So when I was running this survey, many people, I don't know if they did not understand the question or they were just very honest about this answer. So they said most 37% believe in procrastination. You know what is procrastination? It's basically delaying in something that you want to do. Like for example, मुझे migrate होना है, चलो मैं करूँगा, आज करूँगा, कल करूँगा. This is called as procrastination. Always delaying on your decision, delaying on something that you want to do. And many people actually surprisingly answered that they procrastinate. They are firm believers of procrastination, which was a big surprise for me. So it's a really big no for me when it comes to procrastination. Always avoid it. If you want to do something about your career, about migration, about anything in your life, about getting married, just do everything on time. Don't procrastinate for anything. Okay. Second, tardiness is also very unprofessional and talks a lot about your personality. So surprisingly, there were a few who want to be a manager. So there was a question where I asked, "Oh, what you want to become? Manager, principal engineer, professor, whatever." Too many people answer, "Yeah, they want to become a manager," but they also said that tardiness is also one of their, hidden traits. So I was like, okay, so if you are being tardiness, but yet you want to become a manager, how do you associate that with it? So, and even some of the procrastinators also said that they want to become manager. So you can't go hand in unless until you're not disciplined in your life. Like, it won't take you a long way in your career. Like you can only, as I tell you, you can only limitly fake till you make it, but otherwise it's beginner. So always make sure that if you want to become something good, if you want to achieve something in your life, of course, procrastination and tardiness is a big no. Okay. So some opted that they want to do something of their life. So mostly either being unambitious or lack confidence on their abilities. So say, I was actually happy to like have this kinds of honest answer as well. That's they just want to do something because they are so much frustrated and they don't want to do anything with their life. They just want to have a job and just get going in their life. So, but that's fine. As I said, like sometimes interest comes later on. You might think, oh, I will just do this job, and then when you start doing, you actually start to have a good liking towards the job, and then you become a master of the field. So I won't say it's a bad thing, but yeah, certainly when you give an inspiration to whatever you do in your life, you will definitely go ahead. So if you want to know what future holds, so some of them answered that they want to know what the future holds. So come on, I'm not a Nostradamus who predicts future, but I can tell you one thing, that as far as you don't give up, you will never fail. Okay, it may take a while, it will break you, it will mince your confidence, but the result will be worth the sacrifice. So always keep pushing to your limit, and definitely you will get what you want. All right, so you might laugh on this suggestion, but trust me, going to bed early and early to rise will not only keep you healthy, but will add a lot to your life. Discipline, a lot of time to plan to achieve, healthy lifestyle, and good memory. Trust me, guys. Always go back. उनको पता है यार, यूनिवर्सिटी में हम लोग को 12 और 1 बजे जब तक होते हैं, अलग लोग हंसते हैं यार, ये देखो 10 बजे सोने जाते हैं. तो मतलब ऐसा मत करो, ठीक है? अभी once you are graduated, put a discipline in your life. Try and do things at the right time, and then you will see like all this small magic happening in your life, and everything starts to fall in the right place. So yeah, it depends how disciplined you are in your life, and then it will definitely take you along. Second thing I would like to put a quick note on this one is the COVID struggle, and I know many people have lost or are not able to find a job due to the COVID current scenario. So I would say like take this as an opportunity to develop a skill. If you can't find a job, see, you spend 4 years doing engineering. Imagine you're spending 5 years instead, and spend that 1 year learning a skill. Go and learn computer skills. Nowadays, like especially in Australia, there are a lot of things that people, scripting is a very big thing here in Australia. They all love that engineers must know scripting. I don't know if Nagpur University has started adding of these subjects now or not, but during our time it wasn't the case. But over here, most of the university students, they know how to script. So scripting is basically making all these formulas, making your life easier basically to when you just try to do your spreadsheets, when you try to do your Excels. So if you know how to do scripting, you can make your life easier. You can have your results on hand and easy how to build up macros and all those kind of stuff. And you can easily, and even like learn a language, like learn Python and all those kind of stuff, And if you eventually develop some sort of interest into it, definitely it will be an addition to your, it will be something different. Like you're a mining engineer, you can still do these things, and why not? So if you're struggling to find a job, use that time to learn a skill basically, and it will always keep you one step ahead. And I don't know if you have heard about Grammarly. So whenever you make up your CV, always remember that. I don't know if you see many of the videos. If you type on YouTube and check, what is the thing that puts off an HR on a CV, and they will say grammar. So improper grammar on a CV always puts off, because as I said, that language is the biggest thing here. So if your CV is not true, if your grammar is incorrect, you're just not using the verbs and the adjectives correctly or rephrasing your sentences correctly, then it gives a big put off to some of the HR hires. I mean, I personally think that this shouldn't be the criteria while selecting a candidate. They shouldn't be judging engineer, but unfortunately that is the case, and it's not in our hands, it's in their hands. So try to use this application and try to put all the information of your CV into Grammarly, and then they can tell you everything about everything. So at least you can make your CV right and make it nice and presentable. All right, and the last one is for me. So what do you think about this webinar? Did you enjoy? You think, I mean, Amit is still going to continue after this. I'm very sorry, Amit, you took a while for me. But do you think it was enough for what you were expecting out of it? Was it boring? Any suggestions?
I just want to ask one question at last.
Yeah.
It's a bit off topic.
Yeah.
Sir, does a MBA, MBA is in trend nowadays. All of us are going for MBA, all the students, because we're not getting proper jobs after the graduation. So do you think a proper MBA from a good college in India or overseas add a value in mining engineering degree for us?
I think in Middle East, MBA has a bit of a preference. Yes, I should say that. But not in Australia. If you do MBA, you'll be in a whole different, job scenario basically. And I don't know how they take it over here. I haven't come across this MBA kind of group here that they're tying to their own profession. But of course, I would say like if you do MBA, and I think there might be a bit of a hole for you in the future when it comes to India or even in Middle East. But yeah, definitely you can't expect of yourself to be an engineer, and you're basically talking a different pathway over here. So MBA is something else to what you're doing. So you didn't even have to do engineering to do an MBA just because you want to find a job, and if you want to do an MBA, that's another thing. But yeah, it's a total different scenario.
No, sometimes, like in mining sector, people want to switch jobs because mining is not a very easygoing sector. We all know that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of hard works to do, and there are lots of perks. That's why mining sector's salary is quite good as compared to other sectors. So if you want to switch or something, MBA is a good option.
I think, see, at the end of the day, I would say it depends on your taste, If you think, like, there are so many MBAs who are still struggling to get a job, but there are so many MBAs. See, MBA, what is MBA basically? Master in Business Administration. Now, when you're speaking MBA, you're speaking about business administration. How good are you in, there's a word that you call, क्या कहते हैं यार उसको, मतलब किसी को जब आप रिपोर्ट आप उसको कितने लेवल पे उसको कन्विंस कर पाते हो, So business administration needs to be having a different level of skills. Again, being said that language is one of the things that MBA guys must have. They have to present, they have to talk, they have to do this presentation and whatnot, and hold the pillar of the company and present themselves. So अगर वो भी काबिलियत है, so see, education is one thing and personality is another thing. So it shouldn't be only about an education. It should be also about what is right for your personality, I should say, And if you think that yes, even after doing MBA, anyone wants to do an MBA, you can go in. But then again, if it doesn't suit your personality, you think, I will just get a job and that's why I did MBA. But then it doesn't suit me. I really don't enjoy doing this PowerPoint presentation. I don't like talking to people much. I'm a very different kind of guy, but I just did for a job. But so I don't think it will take you long. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so if people who want to go interact quite nicely and are quite of extrovert and want to work hard,
exactly,
they should pursue it.
Yeah. I mean, working hard is in any field. Doesn't mean that you're a mining engineer and you don't want to work hard. But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, certainly, yeah. No worries. So, any questions? So, all happy? No worries.
Do you recommend any courses? Do you recommend any Australia to study in mining?
Yeah, of course. And I think that is one of the pathways that I should have actually talked about it. So, see, if you can't get a permanent residency, most of the people, what they have done, or students, they applied for higher education. They came here for masters, and then after the masters, they started getting the job and then converted into a bridging visa, and then they got into permanent residency. So yeah, that going for higher education or doing masters here, it's one of the pathways of coming to Australia or even Canada or US.
So it's become very easy for us if we pursue masters from Australia and to get a job in Australia and to settle.
Correct. 100%, yeah.
Okay, so Australian government basically wants to invest in that country, and then we will get the job.
Exactly, yeah, you can say kind of, yeah.
Sir, I heard somewhere that the most of the mines are in Western Australia only.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we can have a lot of opportunities in there to get a job after the masters.
Yes, there are. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities. So you can get into, like some side jobs and stuff. And even, the good thing about here in Australia is even when you invest your money in studying, so when you are studying, you're still allowed to work for some hours in a week. So you can have that sort of money coming in your pocket. So you can, pay off your rent, pay off your food and stuff. So you can't be like 100% burden on your parents or your own self, for the sake of saying that.
Sir, do you know any college in Western Australia? That presently I'm thinking about Curtin University. Do you suggest it? You know
Yeah, 100%.
something
Yeah,
about that?
Yeah, Curtin University, University of Wollongong, University of Australia. There are so many universities, and any university is good enough, I should say. But over here in WA, University of WA, Murdoch University, and Curtin University, these are very popular.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
No worries.
So one more thing I want to ask: as you have settled in Australia for a few years now, have you faced racism?
Yes, I think racism is everywhere. Like I would say, it's even in India. अगर कोई गोरा आया हमारे country में बोले ये देखो ये गोरे को that is also a kind of racism.
No,
So
I'm talking about the racial racism that is being faced in the Western or first world countries, especially.
I think there is some kind of, yes, but it depends like how you represent yourself as well. One of the things I would say. But yeah, certainly there is Australia is a bit racist country in some terms.
Have you experienced it?
But the government laws are very strict to protect you.
Have you experienced it in your workplace by your seniors or your?
No, never. No. Especially the company I'm working, it's really very good. And you would see like most of the people over here, like Australians, the actual Australians, they normally are not highly qualified. And that's one of the reasons why Australian government itself is taking Indians and other Asians into their country so that they can work. So in my company, most of the engineers and like all these good level positions, like 70 to 80% are either Indians or Malaysians or Philippines or all from different countries. If you see an Aussie, there might be only a couple of them, like here and there.
Okay, so if I ask you one single question, are you really satisfied being settled there and for you and your family?
Yeah, 100%, man.
Your future there?
More than happy, yeah. 100%, and that's why I said like I think you all should try at some point of time when you have good experience, you are in the right age bracket, you should try and get into it.
Because sometimes government policies change and you have to fly back to your own country for some reason.
Yeah. No, but not in the case of Australia. I'm really happy to be here.
Especially in the mining sector, I guess it's very valuable.
Especially in mining, yes. If you're a mining engineer, you should come here. You will be minting money, man.
Thank you so much, sir, for being with us today.
No worries, not a problem.
Please, you can share your CV and the links that you will suggest.
Yeah, certainly. Not a problem. So I will hand it over to Amit unless Melissa wants to say something, and then Amit can take over.
Yes, Amit can take over now. Yes.
No worries. And just want to thank everyone. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Principal, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Jogi. And thanks for participating and
answering. It was a pleasure listening to you, sir.
And questioning
Thank you,
so
sir.
enthusiastically. Thank you. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, Amit, begin straight away. Are you there?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah,
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes. Yeah. Please start.
I think so. You're not to explain each and everything. I think all students is happy. I don't want to speak more things, I think.
Yeah. You just give a gist of what you have been doing. 5 minutes.
Okay.
Just bol
First of all,
Amit, I will
thank
play
you.
the presentation for you. Okay, I will just open each presentation and then you can just talk about it. Okay?
Yes.
Yes, Nadir.
Yeah, no worries.
First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak with our students, and thank you very much, Mule sir, giving us this opportunity.
My pleasure, Amit.
Okay, students, my name is Amit Naravre. I'm passed out from 2008 and currently working in Colombia, Pura James Mining Limited. Fura Gems is just like gemstone industry. Gemstone is just a hard rock mining. There is underground mining. Currently, my position is underground mine manager. Responsibility development and production, budget estimation, equipment management. Underground mine. This is a highly mechanized mine. There is we have dumpers, loaders, graders. Right now we are making like access to enter in the mines with car. Right now we are using manually, but we are planning to reach up to the phase with mechanized way. That biggest challenge in the underground mine is the water management. That's why I'm managing how to handle the water management in the underground mine. Next slide, Nazim.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay, my career portfolio. First, when I was completed my engineering, I was started SMSIL. I think so. Everyone knows this company in Nagpur. That is underground coal mining company. That is a continuous miner. That is coal and haul dumpers we are using there. And our college, lot of student is working there now. Second, my company is the Hira Power, that manganese mining in Balaghat. There is only 6 months I was worked. Then I got the second opportunity in Zambia. This is manganese mines, open pit mining. I was worked there is 2 years. Then I got the opportunity in Uganda. There is the tin and tantalite. And same companies I was working Congo, and same companies I was working in Myanmar and Kenya. That biggest change in come to my life then I got the opportunity in Tanzania. When I was working in Uganda, one of my boss from the South Africa, he was working there, and he was told me, Amit, come to the Tanzania, and you can join the Tanzanite company. Then after that, I changed everything. My profile I completely changed. I was working in open cast, and I started working in underground mine. Tanzanite is a gemstone. It's a very rare mineral. I think so in India, some selected people knows, especially in Jaipur area, people knows the Tanzanite. That gemstone industry is, this is the ornament. All the gems we are making the ornaments. And Tanzanite is more than 1,000 times rare mineral, more than 1,000 times. And very, very expensive. Same, when I was working in Tanzania, one of right now his company I'm working for, Fura Gems, he's the owner, Mr. Dev Shetty. He came to that mine, he want to visit. Then when I was working there, he likes my work, my communication, everything. Then he decided to start working Emerald. Then he told me, Amit, are you interested to work with us? Then definitely, sir, I'm ready to work with them. I work with, right now, last 2 years, I'm working with them. I'm getting a handsome salary, very good cultures, but lot of responsibilities. That's it. Nazim, next. Okay. Maximum my job opportunity I got from the job portals. Job portals just like to Naukri, Times, and lot of agencies available is the fake. So many people, they paid monies and they want सब बहुत लोगों को लगता है कि यार पैसा दे देंगे तो उन लोगों को जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी। ऐसा नहीं है। आपके पास एक्सपीरियंस है, आपके पास नॉलेज है, आपके पास हाई स्किल कैपेबिलिटी है, तो आप मार्केट में खड़े रह सकते हो, आप जॉब ले सकते हो। डिपेंड करता है आप में क्वालिटी क्या है। हर एक स्टूडेंट को अपनी क्वालिटी खुद को बिल्ड करना होगा, दूसरा कोई नहीं बिल्ड करेगा। हम आपको एडवाइस देंगे, हम आपसे बात करेंगे, बट आपको चाहिए क्या ये खुद आपको एक्सट्रैक्ट करना पड़ेगा। सेम थिंग इज द जॉब पोर्टल ऑल्सो देयर, लॉट ऑफ फेक jobs available, lot of job also available, but you need to extract, we need to explore, then after that you will get the right opportunity. Africa sector, Africa is one of the richest sector for the mineral, all minerals available, diamond, pink diamond, white diamond, gold, aluminium, copper, uranium, manganese. दुनिया का हाईएस्ट क्वालिटी यूरेनियम इस कॉन्गो में पड़ा हुआ है, अच्छा से अच्छा मिनरल वहां पे पड़ा हुआ है। बट लोगों को माइनिंग इंजीनियर्स इतना चाहिए, टैलेंटेड चाहिए, एक्सपीरियंस होल्डर्स चाहिए, वो कहाँ से मिलेगा? और जो चीपेस्ट इंजीनियर मिलता है ना, इंडिया से ही मिलता है, फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग। क्यों मिलता है? क्योंकि अपने को जॉब नहीं मिलता, इसलिए अपन छोटे छोटे कंपनी की तरफ दौड़ते हैं। तो अपने को सबसे पहले तो अपने को कैपेबल बनाना चाहिए कि मार्केट में क्या चाहिए। मार्केट तभी पूछेगा आपको कि आपके पास कुछ है। When I was get the opportunity in the South America, right now I'm working in South America last 2 years. Same thing has happened with me. I told you last time that is Mr. Dev Shetty gave me opportunity. Right now I'm working in underground mine and highly mechanized mine. Oh mines, more than 400 years old mines. That is the emerald. That another very rare mineral, very very rare mineral. And that emeralds is being in market is 1 carat means 5 grams. 5 gram qualities, highly qualities market value is the more than lakh dollar. Lakh dollar बोले तो approximately 72 lakhs 2 grams or 5 grams emerald cost. This is the main gemstone, and right now is very very expensive. I'm telling you several times, guys, very expensive mineral in emerald industry. Okay, Nazim, that's it.
Yes.
ओके, मार्केट रिक्वायरमेंट। सबसे पहली बात तो नाजिम ने बहुत अच्छी तरीके से सबको बता दिया यार। कम्युनिकेशन सिस्टम सबको बिल्ड करना इंग्लिश। ये जरूरी नहीं है कि इंग्लिश ही आना चाहिए। अभी जो मैं काम कर रहा हूँ वहाँ पे जो स्पेनिश चल रहा है। अब जब मैं वहाँ पे गया तो मुझे भी कुछ नहीं आता था यार। आई एम अ न्यू पर्सन, आई डोंट नो व्हाट इज हाउ शुड आई स्पीक विद द पीपल। जब तुम स्टार्ट करते हो ना किसी चीज को, यू विल बी लर्न लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स, लॉट ऑफ चैलेंजेस। Whenever you enter the industry, you give the big challenges, the communication. Then I started last 2 years, I started to learning Spanish. Right now I speak Spanish. After that I'm able to work with them. Second is experience and competency certificate. Other countries में जाओगे तो कोई आपको सेकंड क्लास नहीं चाहिए, आपको फर्स्ट क्लास नहीं चाहिए। आपके पास क्या है वो सब कुछ देखेगा। अदर कंट्रीज में, इंडिया में ही उसका वैल्यू है सेकंड क्लास का, फर्स्ट क्लास का। इंडिया के बाहर कोई वैल्यू नहीं है।
100%.
थर्ड इज द नॉलेज। अब हर एक इंडस्ट्री, हर एक माइनिंग सॉफ्टवेयर के बगैर चलता नहीं। बिना सॉफ्टवेयर नॉलेज, नाजिम ने ऑलरेडी आपको बता दिया, सरपैक, डाटा माइन, वेंडसिम, ये ऐसे सॉफ्टवेयर्स है मार्केट में इतना इजीली, जब तक आप सीखोगे नहीं ना तब तक आपका वैल्यू मार्केट में आएगा नहीं। और दिस इज द वेरी राइट टाइम, बिकॉज नाजिम ने अभी बोला कि कोविड सिचुएशन चल रहा है। अभी ऑनलाइन सॉफ्टवेयर कोर्सेज इतने सारे अवेलेबल है। गाइस प्लीज प्लीज स्टार्ट। ये वेंसिम है, डाटा माइनिंग है, डाटा इन्फो है, सरपैक है, सीखना चालू कीजिए। जिसको माइनिंग इंडस्ट्री में रहना है, विदाउट सॉफ्टवेयर ये इसके बगैर आप नहीं चल पाओगे आगे। लास्ट पॉइंट, सॉरी फोर्थ पॉइंट, लीडरशिप। माइनिंग चलाना है तो आपको लीडरशिप चाहिए। बहुत लोगों ने पूछे कि माइनिंग इंजीनियर क्यों बनना है। तो माइनिंग इंजीनियर इज चैलेंजिंग जॉब। विदाउट स्ट्रेस, विदाउट अंडर प्रेशर, you cannot able to work in the mining industry. That's why you need to build your leadership quality. When you build the leadership quality, you will be get a lot of challenges, lot of stress, lot of pressure. After that, you can able to build your leadership quality. Last point, hard work and smart. गधा मजदूरी तो कोई भी करता है यार। स्मार्ट वर्क पे बहुत ज्यादा चाहिए। अभी बिना स्मार्ट वर्क के कोई भी इंडस्ट्री चल नहीं रही। हार्ड वर्क करोगे लेकिन स्मार्ट वर्क उसके साथ भी चाहिए, तभी उस एम्प्लॉय की, उस बंदे की वैल्यू होगी हर इंडस्ट्री में, तभी टिकेगा। अदरवाइज यू कैन नॉट एबल टू सस्टेन। दैट्स इट नाजिम, मेरे साइड से बहुत कुछ बता चुका है तू। Thank you guys. Anything, any question for me?
Amit, please give me a few minutes to speak about you. Dear friends, he is not only a good employee, but also he is a very shrewd entrepreneur. He sits in America and he does business at Nagpur. Okay, he is one of the top supplier of electrical goods in Nagpur. He has taken agency of all reputed companies. Last week only he told me, this Sunday only he told me. And airports पे जितने भी electrical installations है, right from fly what you call fans, lightings, then in defense sector, so he is one of the top suppliers. And he only takes government tenders and supply in bulk to government companies. So what is to be learned from him is the entrepreneurial qualities. Okay, he is a man who manages several things at a time. So that is the best quality to be learned from him. And from Nazim and Amit, what is to be learned is ये दोस्ती हम नहीं छोड़ेंगे. Dear friends, 2007.
सही है सर.
हाँ.
ये तो that is the fact है सर.
Yes, that is the fact. And जिस एज में आप हो, जो आप अपना टीम बनाओगे, वो टीम आपका ज़िंदगी भर साथ रहेगा. And the best example is Nazim and Amit. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So they have made it big, staying together. अपने अपने जगह पर वो किंग्स हैं. But their quality is अंदर से वो यूनाइटेड है. जब मैंने नाज़िम को बोला you have to speak about this on this webinar, so he highlighted me कि बोले नहीं सर, I will speak with Amit. Okay, so what I am trying to emphasize is whatever friendship that you make during these college days, make sure that it lasts lifelong. Now इसके returns आपको education से ज़्यादा मिलेंगे. And this is what is to be learned from these two experts today. Over to you, Amit. Yes, please continue.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Guys, any question?
Yes, sir. I have one question, sir. Sir, as you said, you have to learn some software designing. Can you name them?
वेंटसिम है यार, वेंटसिम है, डाटा माइनिंग है, सरपैक है. सरपैक से ज्यादा भी बहुत सारी चीज सॉफ्टवेयर आ गए. मैं डाटा माइन जानता हूँ, मैं वेंटसिम जानता हूँ, बट लॉट ऑफ सॉफ्टवेयर इज मार्केट अवेलेबल. प्लीज स्टार्ट राइट नाउ.
Sir, platform.
Yeah, I think I will just put on a bit of a comment on here. Sorry, Amit. See, मतलब यहाँ पे ऑस्ट्रेलियन अगर कल्चर की बात किया जाए, like जॉब कल्चर की, so most of the software is mostly you learn on the job itself. So there's no stress in learning a software, but the thing is that learning scripting, I think most of you guys, I mean, of course you should start learning venting, but for example, if you don't want to go in underground, there's no point in learning venting. But if you learn scripting, if you learn SOPAC, as Amit said, so these softwares are really commonly used in any, even open cast or even underground. So if some of these which are very commonly used between both the sectors, I think you can actually focus on them.
Sir, we usually don't get any exposure. Sir, we don't get any exposure for learning any kind of software because mining is hardcore on-field job, and we don't get to chance to interact with these things.
Yeah, that's why you should sign up for, like Amit said, there are so many videos and there are so many online happening courses. I know there is one place in Kolkata where they actually give you SOPAC training.
Yes, I have his contact number also. I can share with you that one. Yes.
Yeah, see, there it is. So yeah, you can also talk to Amit and maybe.
It will be really helpful, sir, if you share the platform where can you learn all these things.
Definitely, I will share with you guys.
So can we have your email ID?
Yes, definitely. Mule sir is giving you. We are going to share everything is there detail, Mule sir.
I will provide you the email IDs. No issues. Yeah.
Sir, one more thing I want to ask.
Tell me, man.
Sir, how's the lifestyle in South America? I mean, in general, people from India doesn't go for that side of the world. They usually go for either North America or Australian region.
North America is English country and South America is a Spanish country.
Spanish have colonized it.
Yes. There is a very nice culture. Very nice. And I think so everyone knows Pablo. That is the...
We all know that.
Pablo
everyone knows that movie also there, no, Nazim? There is Pablo movie also there.
Yeah, in Colombia, yeah.
Narcos.
That's why that
we
Colombia...
all hope that Amit is not in the wrong trade.
Yes. But now last 15 years I saw. Last 2 years I'm there. But guys, I'm telling you, उसके जैसा country मैंने देखा नहीं अभी तक. जितना मैं काम किया अफ्रीका सेक्टर में, लास्ट 10 years आई मीन अफ्रीका, और अभी कोलंबिया में हूँ, उसके जैसा कंट्री में देखा नहीं हूँ।
Yeah,
आप कोलंबिया में सेटल होना पसंद करेंगे तब से?
नहीं यार, मैं पसंद नहीं करूंगा क्योंकि सब इशू अदर इश्यूज है।
Amit says there are very hot chicks there in Colombia. That's a good motivation for for other students who really want to go to Colombia, especially the bachelor.
वर्ल्ड का ब्यूटीफुल गर्ल्स वो कोलंबिया में मिलेगा। और ये भी बताओ
मिलेगा मतलब क्या है अमित?
ओके गाइस, कम टू द पॉइंट। वहां पे सबसे अच्छा कंट्री, कल्चर बोले तो वहां का कल्चर आप कहीं नहीं सीख पाओगे वैसे जैसा कल्चर, इंडिया में जैसा नहीं। यहाँ पर यार वहां से तो कास्ट सिस्टम भी नहीं है, यहाँ पे देखोगे तो कास्ट सिस्टम मिलेगा। सबसे पहले खाने पीने के लिए तो वहां पे कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं है। हर कोई इंसान हर मीट के सिवा सुबह चालू होता है, रात को मीट के साथ होना है। पहला वर्किंग कल्चर, उनका वर्किंग कल्चर मेरा वही है। सुबह 6 बजे अगर शिफ्ट चालू होती है, शाम को 6 बजे शिफ्ट खत्म है, उसके बाद मेरी लाइफ है, उसकी लाइफ नहीं है। वहां पर भी सेम, नाजिम ने बोला कि वो रोस्टर है वहां पे 14+7 है, 14 दिन काम करो, 7 days ऑफ लो। लेकिन हमारा जितने भी एक्सपर्ट्स है, हमारा जो होता है 100+30, हम लोग 100 days काम करते हैं, 30 days ऑफ। मैं हर 3 month के बाद इंडिया। और स्पेनिश कंट्री होने के कारण वहां पर है ना, सीखने के लिए काफी चीज है। स्पेनिश वर्ल्ड का सेकंड लैंग्वेज है यार, इंग्लिश के बाद स्पेनिश ही चलता है। सेकंड, और वहां पे कोलंबिया के लैटिन अमेरिका में पेरू है, चिले है, वेनेजुएला है, ये मेन चीजें है जो माइनिंग इंडस्ट्री के लिए फेमस है, ऑल टेक्नोलॉजी के लिए फेमस है वहां का साउथ अमेरिका।
सर एक चीज मैं पूछना चाहूंगा सर कि आप जब भी आप ग्रेजुएट हुए थे आप इस कॉलेज से, उसके बाद ही आप लोगों ने मन बना लिया था कि वी हैव टू गो अब्रॉड फॉर वर्क?
नाजिम और हमारा तो पहले से प्लान था यार।
Yeah, मेरा भी पहले से, like I always wanted to come to Australia and there was one of the reasons why I always stuck to mining.
तो अगर से किसी का प्लान हो तो आप क्या कहेंगे, हमें कितना साल स्ट्रगल करना पड़ेगा टू गेट अ प्रॉपर जॉब इन अब्रॉड?
गाइस, ये इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू से। स्ट्रगल सब, हर एक का किस्मत अलग बोल सकता है, ये बोल सकते हैं हम लोग। लेकिन जब भी आपको इंडिया में अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलती है तो ग्रैब कर लीजिए।
अभी आदमी का माला दिल्ली का पुणे, अरे नहीं पुणे नहीं दिल्ली।
हेलो,
मतलब इंडिया की अपॉर्चुनिटीज बेटर है सर साउथ अमेरिका और ऑस्ट्रेलिया से?
आई एम नॉट हर्ड मैन, क्या बोले
सर? मैंने कहा कि आपने कहा कि प्रेफरेंस हमें इंडिया पे ज्यादा देना चाहिए, इंडियन माइंस पे अगर काम मिल जाता है तो क्या इसका मतलब है कि वहाँ पे अपॉर्चुनिटीज कम है इसीलिए हम लोग को होम कंट्री में ज्यादा प्रेफर करना चाहिए?
डेफिनेटली, अगर आप, डिपेंड करता है आपका टेस्ट क्या है। आपका टेस्ट क्या है, आपको क्या करना है, ये डिपेंड करता है। मेरा टेस्ट था कि मेरे को पैसा कमाना है, मेरे को बाहर निकलना है। आप वहां से आप बिल्ड करते हो तो आपको नॉलेज, एक्सपीरियंस, लीडरशिप क्वालिटी, हर चीज आप सीखने को मिलती है धीरे धीरे आगे जब आगे बढ़ते हो। बट डिपेंड करता है आपका टेस्ट क्या है। आप चिकन, आपको पिज्जा खाना है या बर्गर खाना है, डिपेंड करता है आपके ऊपर क्या खाना है आपको।
तो मतलब शुरू से हम दोनों में से कोई एक पाथ हम लोग पहले चूज कर लेंगे, क्योंकि दोनों तो पॉसिबल नहीं है कि
अभी भी अभी भी चूज करना है आपको। कोल इंडस्ट्री जाना है, मेटल इंडस्ट्री जाना है, अभी को आज ही आपको डिसाइड करना है। उसके बाद आपका पाथ कहां पे लेके जाएगा। आज अगर बोले मैं यार कोल में काम कर रहा, दूसरे दिन बोलेगा मेटल में कर रहा हूँ, तीसरे दिन बोलेगा मैं इधर जा रहा हूँ, ये नहीं करेगा। मेरे साथ भी वही हुआ। वैसे ही लास्ट 10 ईयर से मैं डिसाइड कर लिया था अब जिस इंडस्ट्री में जाऊंगा उस इंडस्ट्री को पकड़ते हुए चलूंगा। तो लास्ट अभी देखा तो टांजानाइट में जेम्स में काम किया, अभी भी जेम्स में काम कर, और इसके बाद आगे भी जेम्स में ही रहूंगा।
ओके, सो आप एक्सपर्टीज बिल्ड करने पे ज्यादा प्रेफर होता है सर उसमें? एग्जैक्टली।
और मार्केट में वही आपका डिमांड रहेगा, आपके अंदर क्वालिटी क्या है आपको प्रेजेंट करना है। तो आपको दिखाना पड़ेगा मेरे अंदर ये चीज है, तभी कोई आपको खरीदेगा ना।
हम लोग को ज्यादा स्विच नहीं करना चाहिए, वी हैव टू स्टिक टू वन थिंग आई गेस।
एग्जैक्टली, मेरे हिसाब से।
नो सर, मेरे पापा भी बोलते हैं।
और एक बात है, मतलब किसी ने ये भी पूछा था कि एमबीए करना,
yes,
so, you know, like basically you haven't decided what you want to do. So
सुमन ही है, सुमन के काफी सारे क्वेश्चंस थे। इट्स नाइस।
Thank you, sir. I'm a bit curious.
नहीं यार,
अच्छी बात है।
होना चाहिए। हम लोग बैक बेंच स्टूडेंट हैं, तो हम लोगों ने हमको खुद का करियर हमने खुद बिल्ड किया यहाँ से आने तक।
Backbench students, I don't think, sir. यकीन नहीं हो रहा है।
यार मैं तो
नहीं
बैक
यार,
बेंच में बैठ के सर एक डोर से अंदर आते मैं उसी डोर से बाहर निकल रहा था।
नहीं, ये अभी आपको ये सर के सामने हम नहीं बोलेंगे, कभी अब अकेले में मिलेंगे तो बहुत सारी स्टोरी हमारी सुनने को मिलेगी आप लोग। शायद
एक
किसी
बात
लोग
मैं
ने सुना भी
कहूँगा कि
होगा।
हमेशा अपने गुरुजी और अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, अपनी किताबें, अपने जिस चीज़ से तुम सीख लेते हो ज़िंदगी में उसकी हमेशा मतलब रिस्पेक्ट किया करो। और मतलब ज़रूरी नहीं कि तुम हर किसी प्रोफेसर को लाइक करते हो नहीं करते, बट हमेशा हर किसी के लिए रिस्पेक्ट दिल में रखो। कभी किसी से नहीं अच्छा है तो मतलब बहस मत करो या किसी के लिए बुरा मत सोचो। हमेशा जिस चीज़ से तुम सीख लेते हो, चाहे एक लाइन चाहे एक अल्फाज ही किसी से क्यों ना सीख हो, हमेशा उस चीज़ को अप्रिशिएट करो, रिस्पेक्ट करो और ये तुम्हें मतलब ज़िंदगी में बहुत आगे लेके जाएगा।
ये आपको स्ट्रेंथ मिलेगी, वहीं से आपको स्ट्रेंथ सीखने को वहीं से मिलेगा नाज़िम इन लोग। क्योंकि आगे में जब इंडस्ट्री में आते हैं काफी सारे चैलेंजेस मिलने वाले हैं, बहुत सारी दिक्कतें आने वाले हैं, तभी से आप कैसे कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं। और जो एक कहावत है, मैनेजर जो ही बन सकता है वो जो स्ट्रेस को हैंडल कर सकता है, प्रेशर को हैंडल कर सकता है, वही अच्छा मैनेजर बन सकता है।
मैं थोड़ा सा इंटरप्ट कर रहा हूँ। एक प्रणव मिसाल ने एक लिंक डाला है, देखिए चैट बॉक्स में। somebody who wants to learn Serpac, there is a tutorial on Serpac tutorial, वो एक लिंक डाला है, so you can take note of that link। चैट बॉक्स में है, देखिए आपके, उसको मैंने भी रीपेस्ट किया उसको।
प्रेजेंटेशन बंद करना पड़ेगा, मेरे को दिख नहीं रहा है।
अच्छा चलो मैं
हाँ, you can close चैट बॉक्स में देखिए आप लोग। Yes. Anybody who would be और किसी कोई सवाल पूछना है? So anybody from students? Yeah, Karthik, please move ahead. Yes, go ahead, Karthik.
सर जी, सरपैक डाउनलोड कहाँ से करेंगे? काफी बड़ा सॉफ्टवेयर होता है।
डाउनलोड नहीं होगा, आपको कॉपी ऐसी नहीं मिलेगी सरपैक की।
उसको बाय करना पड़ेगा।
बिल्कुल, एग्जैक्टली, कोई ऐसा नहीं देगा फ्री में आपको।
नहीं, पर बाय भी करना ये इट्स वेरी एक्सपेंसिव
सॉफ्टवेयर और
उसके लाइसेंस रियली लाइसेंसेस होते हैं।
तो पायरेटेड भी कॉपी आपको ऐसा नहीं मिलेगा, आपको उसको सीखना पड़ेगा, उसके बाद ही वहां से पायरेटेड कॉपी मिलता है।
नहीं, there is a tutorial available, that is what he is saying, Pranav Misal is saying.
Okay,
yes, you can make use of it.
Yes, tutorial we can get.
Yes.
If you want, I have, sir, I will share with you.
Okay.
Yes, sir, please share the platform on which we can see it, or we can.
We want to practice.
It is available on Telegram, I think.
अच्छा।
Sorry?
आई थिंक मुले सर हम लोग और एक चीज़ कर सकते हैं, मतलब ये वेबिनार के बाद वी कैन क्रिएट गूगल फॉर्म या ऐसे कुछ, जिसमें बहुत सारे लोगों को कुछ अगर ऐसे कॉमन क्वेश्चंस हो वी कैन पुट इन देयर, और कुछ लिंक्स है, सो लाइक अ कॉमन प्लेटफॉर्म फॉर एवरीवन टू कनेक्ट।
मेरा एक सुमेर कुलकर्णी ने भी चैट बॉक्स में डाला है। या we have already the WhatsApp group has been created. We'll continue with that WhatsApp group.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, sir.
And I will add अच्छा नाजिम, you are not on WhatsApp ना?
नहीं सर, मैं WhatsApp पे नहीं हूँ।
अच्छा।
पर मुश्किल है सर, कोई भी कुछ ऐसे सवाल आए तो आप मुझे फॉरवर्ड करिए।
ओके, या सो
मोर हैप्पी टू हेल्प।
राइट, ठीक है ना? यस,
ठीक है।
So anybody from नहीं anybody from student side?
बहुत शुक्रिया सुनने के लिए।
खाड़ी सर is saying
Thank you so much, Nazim. Okay, thank you, Nazim and Amit. Hello.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
खाड़ी सर।
Okay, बेटा। Okay, will be. Hello.
हाँ सर, सुन रहे हैं हम।
Yes sir, you are audible sir.
हाँ, ठीक। तो बेटा अभी जैसे भी हो रहा है, अभी जैसे आपने सजेशन दिया ना कि ग्रुप फॉर्म करके वो देखते हैं हाउ टू फॉर्म दैट ग्रुप, और उसमें क्या क्या होना चाहिए, कैसे होना चाहिए, विल डिसाइड इट आफ्टरवर्ड। ओके,
ठीक है सर।
ओके,
यस।
और से वंस अगेन थैंक यू नाजिम एंड
थैंक यू खाड़ी सर फॉर लिसनिंग। या नो वरीज, थैंक यू।
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, from student side, anybody would be proposing vote of thanks?
Yes sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for having with us.
Yes.
Sir, thank you, sir. We are so blessed.
Okay,
Sir.
so experience.
Thank you.
Tanmay, yes.
Yes sir, I am presenting.
Yes.
Hello.
You are audible.
Good afternoon to. Yes, I am audible.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good afternoon to our most valuable honorable guest, Mr. Nazim Tisekar and Mr. Amit Narnavre, respected principal sir, HOD sir, and professors, and everyone. It's my privilege to propose vote of thanks. I, on behalf of Rajiv Gandhi College of Engineering, Technology and Research, Department of Mining Engineering, Organizing Committee, and on my own behalf, like to heartily thanks to our honorable guest and alumni of our college, Mr. Nazim Tisekar and Amit Narnavre. Today we had opportunity to hear your thoughts, knowledge and experience. This will definitely encourage us in future. A big thank you to Mr. Nazim Tisekar and Amit Narnavre for their continuous effort and guidance in our on overseas opportunities in mining field for mining engineers, as many of us students cannot find jobs in India and are dreaming to work abroad, but due to lack of knowledge and guidance, we are unable to complete our dreams. Your experience, your journey, and information you provided us in this session. This was one of the most amazing session we have attended till now. And in these tough times when world is facing pandemic, this was one of the most beautiful experience we had. And I would like to thank our Department of Mining Engineering and our professors for organizing such a wonderful session. We are fortunate to attend this amazing webinar, and like such sessions cannot be planned or organized overnight. Mule sir and other professor working from past 10 to 12 days for this session, and I like to thank there. Once again, I want to state that we are very grateful to our guest, Mr. Nazim Tisekar and Amit Narnavre, principal sir, professors, and everyone. Thank you for being with us. It's been pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Tanmay.
Nazim. Thank you, Amit. Your practical solutions will really help students a long way. And we look forward for more interesting sessions from your side in the days to come. I will be troubling you a lot.
No worries, sir. Anytime. Our pleasure.
We are always available for our students.
Yes.
Sir, it was an amazing session.
Yeah.
स्टूडेंट को बोलिए सर एनी टाइम लिंक्डइन पे हम लोग अवेलेबल है, एक मैसेज डाल दीजिए, हम ऑलवेज अवेलेबल.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I am connected to you, Amit sir. Already.
क्यों तन्मय मुझसे नाराज है क्या?
No, sir. I saw your profile today only. Sir.
Okay, नहीं, कोई बात नहीं. ऐसे होगा.
That's why I come to know you are alumni of our college from 2003 to 7 batch.
Yeah. No worries. Okay, guys. I have to leave as well now.
Yes. So we'll call it an end.
Thanks.
So thank you all for being here, and I declare that this particular meet is now over. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Please share us CV, sir. Yeah, please, Nazim, sir. I have requested it quite a few times.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir.